What's good, folks, family, friends, loved ones, enemies, frenemies, wizards, witches, muggles, mudbloods, people of Middle Earth, to another episode of Disguise Coverage, the only podcast that gives you an equal amount of blueberries in each muffin and is presented by the best pizza in Buffalo, New York, and that is One Pie Pizza. You can find the online menu in the episode show notes, whether here on YouTube or whichever podcasting app or platform you are listening to this show on. I am your host, Anthony Prohaska. Find me on Twitter at pro__ant. That's pro 2_ANT. In tonight's episode of Disguise Coverage, we are doing the first and only mock draft of the season for this show. Been doing a lot of building the Buffalo Bills. I knew I was going to stumble over that. Building the Buffalo Bills big board. That is a bit of a tongue twister, like the Sally sells, she sells by the sea. I can't even do that. Forget it. We've been building the big board for the past several weeks, roughly 4 installments of that episode. Different guests, different perspectives, different viewpoints and focuses when it comes to who and what the Bills should be targeting in the 2024 NFL draft. And it's led us to this mock draft moment. So in tonight's episode, we're going to be talking players, evaluations, targets, picks, selections, a whole bunch of different things. And to do that in this episode, I am joined by not one of my favorite guests, although he does fall into this, but one of my favorite people. Used to be on the brand. Now he's moved on to bigger and better things and left us, the little people, behind. But you've known him for being on the show a whole bunch. He was one of the co-hosts of the Cover One Film Room with myself and Eric Turner, Mr. Kendall Mirsky. Kendall, I appreciate you coming down from your pedestal on your mountaintop to hang out with the little people like myself. Thank you for taking the time. Welcome to the show.
Don't do that to me, man. Don't do that to me. This is a great place to be. I'm so happy to be back here for the first and only mock draft this season on Disguise Coverage. Honestly honored. I'm been keeping up to all of your draft content. Like, honestly, I'm so looped in this year because of the guests you've had, because of the content that you've created the last 4 or 5 weeks with this program that you set forward with the draft board. It's awesome, man. Like, in a season that I really haven't had a lot of time to scout, it's awesome to kind of put together just not a consensus, but just a general idea of like, oh, okay, these guys have these evaluations on this guy, these guys have this valuation on that guy, and kind of piecework it together and kind of fall somewhere in a realm of knowing something on these guys without watching a whole lot of film. So it's sweet, man. It's sweet to be a part of it today, and yeah, happy to be back.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your analysis and thoughts of how the show has been going this offseason and the series. And a little peek for those behind the curtain. Before I did that big board series, I texted Kendall. I was like, hey, man, like, random thought for you. Like, what do you think if I kind of did this series or did the direction of the show? And I mean, you know this because, you were in this game with us and with me. Like, it's so tough this time of year.
Yeah.
Because, and again, I'm not saying this negatively or disparagingly, but pretty much everyone is just doing like mock draft, like week in and week out.
And they're good thought exercises, but
Yeah.
it can get stale.
100%. And I didn't want to do that, especially doing it like week after week. Like, how much is really changing? Like, granted, you might be able to tweak some things and be like, oh, this week we're going to focus on trying to trade up. This week we're going to focus on trading back. This week we're going to do, aiming for a receiver in round one. But you also really could just do that on Twitter, kind of, and post the results. So I didn't want to do that too much. I didn't even know if I was going to do a mock draft episode. But then with doing the kind of one-off bonus episode with Dane Brugler yesterday, I was thinking like, what should I do for this one? And so I was like, let's do a mock draft. Next week, I'm going to have Bruce Nolan on the show. We're going to play a bunch of, fill in the blanks and superlatives, kind of a bit of a game when it comes to the Buffalo Bills draft. So I'm excited for that one. I was like, what should I do for this one? And I was debating not even doing one because I did the Brugler one. I was like, I'll do a mock draft. And then I was like, who should I get? I texted you. You were down, and I'm pumped to have you here. Oh, this is an awesome comment from Jason. Jason says, wow, Kendall showing up is like a surprise appearance on the Monday Night Raw after Mania. That is a fantastic comment. That is absolutely tremendous from Jason. Oh, actually, speaking of comments, we got to circle back. Before we even went live,
oh, true.
Justin came in. 1, Justin, appreciate you being here. 2, thank you very much for commenting. 3, thank you very much for the super chat and the kind words. He gave 2 super chats. So, Kendall, we got to lead off with this. So, Justin, in his first one, says, love your work, Ant. Appreciate you, Justin. Thank you for that. Very much for that. He says, Bean is aggressive as he traded a 3 for Douglas, and he trades up if he has multiple picks in a round. Do you think he trades one of the 2s for next year in order to move up this year? What are your thoughts on that? That's been a little bit of a conversation piece after the Bills made that Diggs trade and seeing that too. And I think that's a thought that's crept into Justin's mind here, and not just his. Several people have kind of been discussing that a little bit. Like, do you think Bean tries to use that extra 2 next year in order to move up potentially this year in round 1 or in, maybe a day 2, something like that?
I do think he's thinking about moving up. I mean, we've seen Bean move up exclusively in his tenure as Bills GM. The only time he hasn't was when he had a top 10 pick. Like, the Bills are consistently in the back end of the draft, and I don't think he likes taking guys that he has a round 2 grade on in round 1. I don't think he enjoys that. So he tries to move up a little bit and grab his guy, the last, few guys that he can target with a round 1 grade. I think that's just how he operates. And we have 2-2s next year, and one of them is a Minnesota pick who right now has Sam Darnold as the starting quarterback. So
Be
it's like,
terrible. Have it be like pick 33 in round
right,
2,
like
please.
honestly, get rid of our pick and we hold on to 2 top 40 picks in theory for
awesome.
2025. So I think it's a very real possibility. The question becomes what position, and I know everyone's like, oh, it's wide receiver, it's wide receiver. Like, it could very well be edge. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Like, Brandon Bean he's gonna take premium positions.
Dude,
And
I
I'm
tweeted
not
that
here
earlier
to say
today.
wide receiver isn't a premium position, but like, come on, guys. It could absolutely be edge.
100%. I tweeted earlier today that I was like, I don't know if this is polarizing or not. I was like, but I don't remember the exact verbiage, but I basically said like, if I had to trade into the teens, I would much rather do it for like Jared Verse than I would any receiver outside the top 3. And
yeah, if it's not one of those top 3 guys, give me one of the top 3 edges.
But still, predictably, people were mad that it wasn't a receiver because that receiver train. I think like this is a great question from Justin, and I think you're spot on. Like, I think it has to be considered. I also wonder too if this is the thought that keeps coming into my mind. Like, if they were to make that proposed deal with Chicago, because Chicago's sitting there at 9, they don't have a lot of draft picks this year in this class. And I wonder, do the Bills use that too? Or does having that 2 from Minnesota, do they potentially package next year's first and try to move up to 9 if like Rome Odunze is there, or maybe it's Neighbors instead? Like, do they try to make a move for one of the big 3, knowing that they can either use one of the 2s that they have next year, or they can sit there and be like, no, we're just going to have 2 2s and no 1 because we traded up for one of the big 3. Like, I feel like in some way it could lead to a move up, whether it's the big one, like the big home run swing for one of the big 3 if they fall, and not necessarily if they fall, like if one of them makes it to number 9 at Chicago, which I think is a possibility for sure, or again, being used in some way to Dallas Turner fell, or Jared Verse fell, or Byron Murphy is falling, or some premium dude on the D line that, again, we know that they believe in building the defense out from the D line out, and the D line is the engine. Like, even despite how big that need is at receiver, I still 100%, man, I could see them trading up and like Brian Thomas being there and everybody being like, yeah. And then they're like, they take Verse or Murphy and people would be so mad.
I don't know, man. Like,
I would love it.
If it's Verse or Latu, I'm personally of the mind where I think I'd rather have one of those guys than anyone outside the top 3 wide receivers. And like you said, like the cost to move up to get one of the big 3 wide receivers, I get it. I get the talent that they are.
Yeah.
But we've talked about it honestly over the last like 6-8 months, whatever it's been. These next 2 drafts are so foundational for this team, like because of what they did hitting the reset button. The joke we made, like, no, they didn't hit the reset button, they slammed the reset button. Like, they absolutely slammed it. So you have to nail these next 2 drafts. And I mean, yeah, the Bills have had success drafting later rounds, honestly more so than they have late in the first round, but I still think you got to keep that first round pick. Just, I don't know, just more ammo for the future. Like, it's just has a better hit rate, but I don't know, maybe not historically for the Bills. I can see both sides of the argument, but just right now in the life cycle for the Bills, I want to be a little bit more calculated with the trade ups.
And I'm traditionally of the mindset of give me as many bites at the apple in the draft as I can have, or as many swings at the plate, throws at the dartboard, whatever verbiage you want to use, just because the draft is a crapshoot. No matter how sure a prospect may be, I prefer to have multiple options. But again, to your point, I do understand the other side. And like, if the Bills trade up and they get Rome Odunze, like, I'm not going to be mad unless they pulled a Mike Ditka and sacrificed the entire class. I might be like, no,
right.
That's probably a little ill-advised, but,
Yeah.
yeah, you see both sides, and it's fun either way. We got another super chat from Justin. In between, we got a nice comment here from Amy who says, "Go Bills. Thank you in advance, Aunt. Us Mafia always appreciates you." I appreciate you, Amy, in the kind words. Thank you very much for that. But Justin gave us another super chat and a scenario, it looks like. Justin says,
Mm.
it looks like in a mock he did, I went all Belichick and traded down from 28 twice. Oh, I like this already. And ended up with 49, 60, 69, and 80. I traded 28, 163, and 163 to the Chargers for 37 and 69. Traded with the Bengals for 49 and 80. Gave up 36, 160. Do you trade up or down? This is an interesting scenario because I've talked about this a bunch. Again, this is all dependent on if the board falls right. In a perfect world, I want as many day 2 picks as I can have. And initially, I'm talking small, like trade from 28 to like 35 or 36 and pick up like pick 94 or a pick in the late 80s. Like give me a 3rd round pick that the Bills should have had if they didn't get screwed out of the comp pick
Oh boy.
formula.
Yeah.
I still don't understand that. And we never will because it's a secret like the Krabby Patty formula. So I was expecting that 3rd round pick, didn't get it. I am a fan of the idea of trading down. And in this situation where Justin says he went all Belichick, I really like the idea of basically like you drop from 28. Granted, it's a steep drop to 49, but having 49, 60, 69, and 80, I like that a lot because I think there's so much value on day 2 for this draft, especially in round 2. And then again, just where the Bills sit now, they have pick 60. They don't pick again until 128. That's 68 guys that are going between your 2nd and your 3rd pick, which is a huge gap. In this example here, what do you think? Are you a fan of Justin's move here or of the general philosophy of trading down versus trading up? Or, are you just kind of, no, I'll stand pat? What are your thoughts?
I'm usually much more partial to trading down. I like this scenario, and not only just because of the range that he got, like you laid out, but also the Bills have so many picks the next 2 drafts combined. This gives them a lot of flexibility in this specific scenario to make incremental like 5 pick jumps in the day 2 range to go and snipe their guys. Like between picks, 40 and 100, they can move up 5 to 10 picks because they have so much going on in next year's draft and on day 3 of this year's draft. Just move up a little bit to get their guy and make sure that they don't get their guy taken from them.
I think that's fair. And I do wonder, like, I really could see a scenario though of like moving down, moving up, moving down, moving up. Like I
Right.
wonder how much
Just gaining assets to then
yeah,
use those assets.
but it is so tough because draft day trades similar to real NFL trades. Like it always takes 2 to dance, and it's like to be able to make that many moves, you need those partners. But I am a fan of, again, I want to accumulate as much day 2 capital as possible, whether that means potentially trading out of 28 or I mean, this is harder, but like trying to convert some of that day 3 quantity into more
Yeah.
day 2 quality
Yeah.
would be, but again, that's tough. Like no one's
It
going to be
is
like,
tough.
yeah,
Give me
I'll
that
give you,
7th.
yeah, no, yeah, I'll give you my 3rd for 2 6th and a 7th. Sure.
Right.
I'd love to do
I'll
that, but
I'll
no one's
I'll move back 10 spots for
right.
that. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's tough to find that, but it's possible. It's a little more possible, especially for a team like the Cardinals or someone who's really really rebuilding.
Oh, absolutely. You got 2 comments related here to Bruce. RJ first says you're following in
Oh,
Bruce Nolan's
naturally.
footsteps, though it is past your bedtime. And he said, sorry, I had to do it for nostalgia's sake.
Nope, no,
Love that,
that's
RJ.
fine. No
Well
need
done.
to
And
apologize.
then Justin came in again, the hero of the show so far, with another super chat that said Kendall's channeling his inner Bruce Nolan. I like that. I like that. Kendall, before we get into the meat of this mock draft and start really making the picks and all this stuff, as we go into it, where's your head at? Are you gung ho on one specific player in round 1 or a specific player in this draft, a specific position to target in a specific round? As we sit here, almost literally a week away, we'll be a week away from the draft in 2 days. We're getting very close. Do you have anything philosophically or from a principle standpoint where your mind and or heart and soul are operating out of when it comes to this draft for the Bills?
Not really, just because I mean we've gotten there in the past and we've seen how it can go down if you get a little narrow-minded with the draft. And I mean we saw it with the Kyer Elam draft, and I mean jury's still out with Kyer Elam, but everyone knew the Bills were going to take a cornerback that pick, and they got jumped. And Trent McDuffie is now a Chief.
Oh,
So it's
my man.
like,
I'm still so annoyed too because of
yeah,
how much I loved
exactly.
McDuffie and how much I did not love Elam and you
Yeah,
as
we were
well. And I'm
both
just,
there on that one that year.
bro, and the trajectory of both players, and especially McDuffie having his with the Chiefs, it's such a
It
massive
hurts.
frustration for me.
Yeah,
It kills me.
pain. But that's kind of like my example for why I, as a fan and, aspiring analyst, whatever you want to call it, is you don't want to get that narrow-minded with the draft. Like,
Mm,
yes, the Bills need a wide receiver, but we know that the people in one Bills drive are not thinking wide receiver or bust. And
mm,
they can't do that because that's how the team busts the player, not the player busting the team.
mm.
So I'm personally not of that mind. However, when I'm naturally doing mock drafts, my trend seems to be trade down no further than 39. So get from 28 no further
Mhm,
past 39 and
mhm,
try to get a wide receiver in that range while picking up a third round pick.
mm.
That's usually my trend. Doesn't always work exactly how I plan, but that's for whatever reason seems to be my cup of tea for this draft.
I think that's fair, and I'm man, I have so many, like, different, like, thoughts and processes when it comes into this draft class and this draft in general, and, man, the Diggs trade really threw me for a loop because I still think a quality defensive player is gonna fall at corner or on
Yes.
the interior, like, like, I still
I
even with
think
Diggs
one of those defensive tackles is falling. I
I'm
really
still
think they are.
man, like, I really think Murphy's gonna go, but I still like the idea of Johnny Newton at 28, even
Mhm.
with Diggs being traded, and again, part of that comes from my love for the receivers that you can still find at pick 60 and on day 2 of the draft, but man, it's it's so wild still, that Diggs trade and how it kinda
Yeah.
changed things. Like, I am much more into the, like, give me a wide receiver in round 1 camp or double dipping at wide receiver at 28 and 60 than I was before. Like, I think you have to come away with at least 2 receivers in this draft class.
Mhm.
It's in some way, shape, or form, given how the room looks like now, in order to try and create that basketball lineup, which is what I
Yeah.
really wanna do. But I still just from the Bills' perspective, like we know, and I talked about it with Dane Brugler yesterday in that bonus episode. Like, we know the Bills go for that best player available piece. And if there
Yep.
is a run on receiver potentially in the first round, or even if there isn't, I don't know. You mean to tell me if Johnny Newton is there and they really like him, they won't take him? Or maybe they really like Kool-Aid McKinstry, or maybe Terrion Arnold fell, or maybe it's
Mhm.
Cooper DeJean, like some of the people in the chat are saying, and they met with him today. Maybe he's the guy. Or, yeah, maybe Latu does fall. And a lot of teams cleared him on the medicals. That's one of the things I
Mhm.
spoke to Dane Brugler about yesterday as well. Like, more teams cleared him than have not cleared him, and teams are fine with it. Somebody, or maybe again, it's on the interior offensive line. Maybe Graham Barton falls, or maybe Jackson Powers Johnson falls, or maybe they really like Zach Frazier. It doesn't, for some reason, my gut keeps telling me that it's not going to be wide receiver. And I know that would plunge the fan base into chaos. Like, if it is wide receiver, again, it makes sense. It maybe only 4 wide receivers go before pick 27, or maybe only 3 do, or maybe 3 go in the first 21 and the Bills can trade up to 22 or do something like that, some scenario. But yeah, my gut keeps telling me it's not going to be a receiver. Corner keeps coming into my mind. And
Mhm.
again, just for me personally, if Johnny Newton is there, I've said it on Twitter, I've said it on this show, like, with the rotation they use, plus his affinity for rushing the passer, you're putting him and Ed Oliver
Right.
on the interior on known passing downs and situations. And so Johnny Newton is your, like, defensive tackle 3 and your backup 3 tech to Ed Oliver. But I still think he has the opportunity to see at least 45% of snaps
Mhm.
based on how game script and game flow goes, which also potentially helps Daquan Jones stay fresh for the
Right.
playoff run when teams want to, run the ball a little bit
Yep.
more, and you want your one tech fresh and 100% come playoff time and come cold weather time. Granted, Daquan, I've said it on the show so much, was on an all-pro pace last year before he went down, and he can rush the passer in addition to playing the run and what he does as a one tech. But man, like, there's so much upside to Newton coming to this team. And again, just from the basic of how many people you got to beat Patrick Mahomes. It's a great way to beat Patrick Mahomes to have tremendous interior pass rush. And I think
Mhm.
Newton is that guy that can offer that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Like I do get that sneaky feeling that there's going to be a defensive player drafted, and I'm not going to get upset about it because I'm mentally prepared for it. Like I honestly kind of want it a little bit, but the big caveat for me, like I said, the trend that I've been doing in mock drafts is trading back and then trying to get a wide receiver and double dipping later while recouping that third round pick.
Mm,
Most ideally might be trading back, getting that defensive guy within the top
mm,
40 still, and getting a third round pick so you can double
yes.
dip on
Yes.
day 2.
Yes.
That might be the best play because we've talked about this offline. Like there really aren't a lot of X options. And Dane's
Nope.
it's funny, Dane Brugler said it yesterday
Hmm.
outside of Brendan Rice, who's probably gonna go what, round 3 or 4 is the projection. So you kind of want to make sure that you have a third round pick to make sure if you didn't get that prototypical X guy,
Hmm.
you can make sure you have a chance at him in round 3.
That's a good way to look at it. And again, in that perfect scenario, like depending on who falls, I would love like you trade back to like 35, you get Johnny Newton, and then you end up with a third, and you can double dip in round 2 and 3, and you get Javon Baker and Jalen McMillan, or Javon Baker and Jamari Thrash, or some kind of
Right.
combination of
Yeah.
receivers between
Pick
your
your pick your
yeah.
poison there, and
Yeah.
it feels better. You like
Yeah.
you feel better about the day 1 pick because of what happened on day 2.
Exactly. And I like that kind of mixing and matching. Again, and this also comes down to, my just roster building philosophy. I do think you need top tier players, but I ideally am trying to build a team of as many like B plus and A minus guys as I can. Some
Hey,
people
it's a
want to go,
reset. It's a reset. That's
yeah,
kind of what you have to do. You got to make sure you're hitting.
yeah, you do. And give me those shots at the board and those swings at the plate. And I've talked so much about this show, ironically, about like the Bills' lack of, top tier, S tier, A1 dudes to kind of fight fire with the rest of the teams in the NFL. And it is hard to like land those guys. And so give me the example I always compare it to is those Sabres teams, the one that lost in game 7 to the Carolina Hurricanes in 2006, 2017, that should
Mhm.
have won the Stanley Cup if their entire
Mhm.
defense core didn't get hit with the plague and they're bringing up dudes from Rochester. That team was built where you had 4 lines that were basically like 3 number 2 lines, and the fourth line was like a third line. They didn't have a true
Right.
top tier, these dudes are studs, here's your number 1 line. Especially when you juxtapose them with a team like Ottawa, for example. Their one line had
Yeah.
Spezza and Alfredson and Heatley. All those dudes were studs. The Sabres had balanced scoring and mix of offense and defense between all
Right.
4 lines. And I like that model, not just for hockey, but in general. Like, give me a team of as many B plus and A minus guys as you can have. And some people don't like that. Some people know. Give me the A1 top tier A pluses and then mix in some C's and C minuses and C pluses. It'll be fine. I like this idea of just making the roster as thorough as possible, because when you put all your eggs into like the A baskets or the A plus baskets, what happens if those dudes go down? Like, what
Right.
happens if
I mean,
you,
look at the Cowboys right now. Like,
good
look at
example.
what the Cowboys are setting up to be. They're setting up to be a team that's paying Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, and CeeDee Lamb, and then fill in the blanks. Like, they just got to figure it out everywhere else and depend on those superstars to be superstars. What happens
Yeah.
if they're not?
Right. And it kind of makes me think of like, I feel like they're like the glass cannon build in like an RPG where you have like no armor and defense and you're just all like, yeah, but like, man, if I hit you with 2 shots, you're dead. And it's like, yeah, but if you get hit with 1 shot, you die. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
that, what
High
type of build do
variance.
you, yeah, there you go. Yeah. What type of build do you prefer? And, man, so Ralph says Briere didn't have a shot on. They went into game 7 in the third period. They were up 2-1 after that Jochen Hesch goal. And Carolina was loaded with like the vets that they brought in with like Doug Waite and Mark Recchi and everything they had. If the Sabres weren't down to playing Rochester defensemen, they would have gone to the Cup and they would have waxed Edmonton. Oh, that should have been a Buffalo championship. I'm still so frustrated.
uh,
That because in my mind too, like the 13 seconds game, my theory or my pushback on that was like, I don't know if we're beating Cincinnati in the AFC Championship. And ironically,
yeah.
we haven't had luck against Cincinnati after that. But I
Right.
really, in my soul, I believe if the Sabres get past Carolina that year and go to the Cup, they're beating Edmonton. That Edmonton squad, I don't even know how they made the Cup. Like, they would have waxed Dwayne Rollerson and Ryan Smith and that crew, and the Sabres would have won the Cup. They were Oh, just so unfortunate, and curses and stupid things. But again, we use that example to come to here. Yeah, like there is so much quality in this draft, not just at receiver, but receiver and offensive line. And even like the value at safety in this draft is on day 2. And you might even still be able to get a good edge or 2 on day 2. Like there's a lot of intriguing options in that spot. So give me as many bites at the apple in that range. Or again, like the board has to fall that way, right? The board
Mhm.
has to fall that way. I don't want to sit there at 28 and like 4 of the guys I wanted are gone. There's only one left. Cool. I'm going to take that guy. I'm not going to be like, well, let's just trade back. But yeah, I just think when you're looking at this team and like we talked about in text and like we've talked about in the show to start off here, like you're resetting a little bit. At the very least, it's a revamp for this
Yeah.
roster this
Yeah.
offseason. Allen's money is starting to kick in. Diggs is gone. Who's kind of taken over in terms of a leadership off the field standpoint, but on the field, you're potentially changing too. Like Hyde and Poyer being gone and Trey White being gone. Like how much do things change schematically? You need to start rebuilding your leadership core, but also like your on-field schematic X's and O's
Yeah.
core. And I like the idea of doing it. Like, hey, if I can get a shot at an A plus guy or an A guy, that's awesome. But based on where they're picking, you're really trying to hope one of those guys fall to you. And the odds of that happening is less than you trying to make your own luck and acquiring as many B plus guys as you can.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they're gonna try to take some high floor players with this draft and maybe
Hmm.
get a little more high variance
That's
next
why
year.
that like the idea of like Lad McConkey, who I think his
Right,
ceiling is
right.
potentially somewhat limited, but because of his size and frame and what he can be. But and again, ironically, Dane and I talked about it yesterday. Like dude is going to come into the league and be a professional
Right.
route runner from the jump. Like his floor is so high because he's going to come onto a team and be like a wide receiver too, or and arguably the best route runner on a lot of teams already because of how good of a route runner he is. And then he does have speed and the ability to kind of do some things that an X can do, even though he's not that traditional X in terms of size and frame and even really play style, but he does have a lot of fun like aspects. But then you do have to pair him kind of with that X later. Like I love the
Right.
idea of like
Right.
Lad McConkey at 28. If I get Javon Baker at 60, kind
Mhm.
of pairing that awesome receiver, I don't care, find a place to put him with that more traditional X prototype or skill set. Good comment
But
here from
then
Bills are electric
the
saying, I like it.
conversation on that point to the 28 and 60, like if you go double dip there, like you got to find an edge in round 4. Like you got to be happy about the edges that fall to
Yes.
you at round 4.
And see, and that is like to kind of piggyback off this comment from JG, he says, like, or you go get the A guy. The problem is if you sacrifice too much capital or resources to go get the A guy, and
Yep.
because the draft is a crapshoot, that A guy isn't an A guy. Now you've hurt yourself further. Like, even if you just in a vacuum, you pick a guy and he doesn't pan out, okay, you failed. It is what it is. But the more resources and capital you use to acquire that guy that didn't work out, the bigger of a failure it is. And I think that ties into my point. I think Kendall's as well. It's not just trading back and acquiring more picks for the sake of trading back and acquiring more picks.
Mhm.
It's to give you more of an opportunity to hit on those guys because even the guys who seem like the most surefire A type of guy, it's not a guarantee that they're going to be an A type of guy. Maybe they're a B, maybe they're a C. Maybe they I don't know, flame out of the league and they don't even see a second contract. Even the most assured dude isn't a guarantee. And so you're
Mhm.
trying to build as many B plus guys as you can by getting those swings at the plate. I think that's it. Like you can go get the A guy 100%, but if the A guy doesn't hit, and especially when you're in a transition period like the Bills are, the more capital you sacrifice to invest in a guy that doesn't end up being the guy, now you potentially set yourself farther and further behind the 8 ball.
Right. That's the fear. I like the idea of trading up, but like it puts a lot of pressure on that guy. Like that guy
Yes.
has to hit.
Oh, I'm fearful for whatever receiver the Bills get at 28. If they do take one, man, like they have to hit the ground running and be amazing because if not, the fans are just going to be absolutely like
I mean, we've talked
brutal.
about it, and I know you're not even the only one talking about it. Like plenty of Bills analysts, all these Bills podcasters, everyone's talking about how whoever the Bills draft at wide receiver this year, he's not going to be the number one option.
Yeah, I
Like
said it a ton, which is awesome. Which is
we
why,
all know this.
like I
Like,
have a
why can't
2.
we acknowledge that? Like, whoever this guy is, like, let him just relax into the system. Like,
Yeah,
he will get worked into the system, probably a similar fashion to Shakir, but a little bit more accelerated. Like, we
yeah,
saw Shakir get worked in, but at a rate for a fourth, fifth rounder. But
yes,
for first rounder, second rounder, like, we'll probably see that easing into the system, but there's a clear role for him to kind of be plug and play. It's just
yes,
not needed.
yes, and that's why I have more of a 2, like, not even more of a 2, like, I have a 2 on the gap, but more like a and I because I've seen some people say he's more of like a 3, like, I have like a 2, like a late 2 on Leggett just because I think the
Mhm.
variance is so high, but I have no
Right.
problem taking Leggett at 28 because I think he has a good chance to hit his ceiling with the Bills because of what the learning curve would be for him early on. Like, all he has to
Yeah.
do as a rookie is just go be 6'1", 220 plus, run a 4.3, dunk on dudes downfield, play above the rim, float in the air. Just do that stuff
Right.
while we upskill you and coach you up with your route tree and deception and stem work and all that. Like, he doesn't have to be a traditional first round pick as a receiver. And then I think that pays dividends more in 2025 and
Yep.
2026 when you do need him to potentially be a true number one. And that's why, like, I'm okay with him, even though, like, I don't have a first round grade on him. I'm okay with him at 28 because I think his trajectory plus skill set meshes well with the Bills' need, but also the timeline that he would be on, given the presence of Kincaid and the run game and Samuel and Shakir, and then also just Josh Allen doing Josh Allen stuff. You don't need him to come in and be a first round wide receiver impact in 2024.
That is kind of the beautiful part about where this offense is at the moment. If they do draft a prototypical ball winning X, you can really hide those deficiencies in 2024.
Hmm.
Like, specifically for that type of build wide receiver. If you're getting a guy that's just another, like a Lad McConkey, like, you kind of need him to just work in and be part of the team immediately because he's somewhat redundant to the wide receivers that are currently on the roster, at least the top ones on the roster. But if you're getting a ball winning X, like, you can really afford to lean on his strengths and kind of mask his deficiencies in 2024.
That's absolutely fair. I want to pull these 2 quick comments from Nikki saying that's still a risk though, which is why I'm still out on Leggett, which is fair, but also everyone is a risk. Like Nikki also said, I like the 100% and go get it. It just has to be in the top 10 picks. Nobody in the top 10 is a guarantee. There is no such thing as a guarantee pick in terms of what they can be. Yes, guys who you get drafted higher usually have a higher ceiling or a higher floor, or maybe even sometimes both, but it is not a guarantee for anything. What happens if I don't know, you do trade up into the top 10 and you get Odunze? Maybe he doesn't turn out to be what you think he's going to be. Or what if he gets hurt and it derails his career and completely changes what he could potentially be? There is no such thing as a sure thing. There is no 100%. If there was, everybody would hit on everything, or the hit rate for teams with picks would be so much more. Oh, we got another super chat from Justin. I appreciate the hell out of you, Justin. I would grab this and then jump right into the mock. Justin says, the Diggs trade didn't bother me. 140 years. Wait, no. 100. Oh, 100. I'm thinking 140 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3 straight divisional losses. We need playoff performers, not just 17 putting the cape on. I see that, and Ken, I want to see your thoughts on that with this. Again, Justin, thank you very much for being here, and thank you for the super chat. A lot of what Diggs does, though, again, and maybe this is a cop out, like his gravity allows others to succeed. Like
Hmm.
he had a hand in Gabe Davis putting up, what, a 200 plus yards and 4 touchdowns in that game because of the coverage they were rolling his way. Like Diggs' ability to draw brackets or doubles or the number one corner allows others to eat. It opens up the middle for Dalton Kincaid and Khalil Shakir. Just that presence of a true one gives you that opportunity. And also, even with those divisional losses, I do want to put, because Kansas City was a couple of them, and I've talked about it on the show. Steve Spagnuolo, his like MO whenever the Chiefs play the Bills is take away Stephon Diggs. Like he
Hmm.
does whatever. He's in the Belichick mode of I'm going to take away your best thing. You got to beat me with something else. And even within that, Diggs beat L'Jarius Sneed a bunch during this season. He just didn't happen to get the ball, but it's there on the tape. I see your point though. Like if you have an A guy, an S tier guy, you want them to show up in those big moments. But I do think Diggs had an impact on this offense aside from just the raw stats in terms of benefit.
Yeah, I definitely think I echo those sentiments of what he does for the rest of the offense. And I think that's why we're both proponents of finding a big ball winning X that has a vertical route tree, because a lot of the guys that we have right now win in the short and intermediate, and we need to stretch the field vertically right now. And like Diggs, sure, maybe he lost a step. Maybe he wasn't being as much of that vertical threat as he was back in 2020, but
Mhm.
it was still felt, and teams still had to game plan for him, whether it was the short, intermediate, or vertical. Like he was still being game planned for, and yeah, that's going to be sorely lost. Like no matter what the off-field issues were, it's still part of the game. Like it's 11 guys on the field, and losing one of those alpha guys takes away from the other 10.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Kendall, what do you think? Should we dive into the mock?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Everybody playing at home, questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, throw it up into the chat. I do want to make this as interactive as possible. Kendall, keep an eye on the chat because I'm obviously in the mock
Oh,
screen.
yes. Yeah, I got you.
Um, but yeah, so questions, thoughts, comments, concerns. If you guys want us to trade up, trade down, thoughts, pick a guy. I do want to make this as kind of almost like three people, like me, Kendall, and the chat.
Mm.
Again, I do these as thought exercises. I'm not sitting here trying to be completely predictive with this mock and what it can be and who it can be and all that stuff. So let's just kind of see what happens as we roll through and go forward. This is the speed and the setting we want. All right, cool. I'm going to dive into it. I guess we'll kind of stop as we go forward. All right, so I'm going to stop at pick after pick 8. I really hope. If I don't, I'm going to restart. Okay, 6, 7, 8. Damn it. Damn. Oh,
Oh,
the
there we
Falcons took
go.
Odunze. Wild. Okay. But now this is still interesting. Okay. For anybody in the chat, Kendall, for you, Chicago, that trade is potentially still on the offer or on the table. They still do need picks. Like that whole idea, that trade scenario
Hmm.
potentially still exists. Potential trade up here. Do you want to trade with Chicago? Maybe try and get Dallas Turner. All edges are still on the board. We've only seen Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels for the audio listeners. It was Caleb Williams 1, Jaden Daniels 2, Drake May 3, Joe Alt 4, Marvin Harrison at 5, JJ McCarthy at 6, Malik Neighbors at 7, Romo Dunze at 8, and now we sit here with the Chicago Bears pick at pick 9.
I think the tough part about this is, like, yeah, it's nice to have your pick of the edges, but all three guys are available. Like, I
Yes.
don't know if I'm starting to get antsy to trade up for one of them until one of them gets taken. And we got Spin in the chat saying no trade up. I want to wait till at least 18 to trade, says Travis. Some people saying trade back. So I think we hold steady
Let it
and at
rock.
least wait until we see one edge. Is there another position that you think
No.
we should have our eyes on for a trade up?
No, I think edge really starts to get interesting for me as you go forward. Once you hit like Seattle at 16, the idea of potentially trading up into that spot or somewhere in the late teens or early 20s for an edge, I think is interesting. But I'm a fan. I like this. No trade up. I like this. I like it. I like it. Oh, and Roy only thinks you trade up that far for a QB. Okay, I'm just proposing ideas for
I
everybody.
mean,
Want to throw it
Sammy
out there?
Watkins happened.
Oh man, I think that's also annoying too. Like they traded up for Watkins in a draft where like you could have
Yeah.
sat still and had Mike Evans or Aaron Donald or Odell Beckham or like I still to this day thought the trade up was happening for Khalil Mack. When they traded up, I thought it was for
Right.
Mack and they
Yeah.
took. I'm still convinced they took Sammy Watkins because Rex Ryan's kid was on Clemson and he thought it'd be fun. Like, oh man, what a
What
time!
a
All right,
different
I'm gonna hit
era.
resume. We're resuming. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right,
Let's
let's
keep
do
our
it.
eyes on the edges.
This is really stressful to like have to pause.
So Turner left right away.
Oh,
There's
first one at
Verse.
15. Monkeys. Okay,
This is
so
tough.
right? So Dallas Turner went at 9, Brock Bowers at 10, Terrion Arnold at 11 in Minnesota. Well, no QB on the board. Talise Fuaga at 12, JC Latham at 13, Quinton Mitchell at 14, Jared Verse at 15. So a lot of this too, I think at this point, like, is also something like I've talked about on the show. Like, I really think you could see again who takes who where. But I think from like a player picking perspective is really what you could see in the first 27. Like, I think you're going to see 4 quarterbacks go. You're going to see the big 3 wide receivers. You're going to see Brock Bowers. You're going to see Quinyon Mitchell. Turner's going to go. Verse is going to go. How many corners go aside from Quinyon Mitchell? I think is an interesting one, but we've already seen one go. And then I think at least 8 offensive linemen go in the first 27. So we're really kind of seeing the board kind of fall in that fashion right now.
I'm trying to think of like where we should pause next. I don't know. I don't even know if Latu gets past.
Maybe the Rams.
The problem is the Rams have 11 picks. Like,
I
what is
know,
their
they don't care.
incentive?
Yeah, they don't need capital. They don't care. All right, I'm gonna let it ride unless you feel strongly about something.
No, I don't. I think, yeah, some people in the chat are saying it too. I think stick and pick is becoming more and more likely right now.
I like it. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna resume. It's really stressful to make sure I hit the pause button.
Yeah, it's tough. I've been
especially
there.
too real quick because Byron Murphy went because when you click here at resume, then it moves up to over here, and I'm not prepared for the button. Especially because I only do this on my phone. I never do it on desktop.
Oh,
so it's driving me
really?
nuts. Yeah, I never do desktop. It's always on my phone.
It's funny.
All right. We'll stop at the Eagles pick at 22.
All right.
Man, a lot of offensive linemen. Okay. Oh, and there goes Brian Thomas. Oh, to Miami. That's going to make Bills fans mad. All right. So Jared Verse was at 15. Once we continued, we got Byron Murphy at 16, Troy Fatanu, who I really like, to the Jags at 17, Olu Fashanu to the Bengals, Graham Barton to the Rams, Tyler Guyton to the Steelers, and Brian Thomas Jr. to the Dolphins. So only 4 receivers have gone. How many linemen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 offensive linemen have already gone. Tackles.
Who did the Vikings take at 11?
Although Fatanu can be a guard. They took Terrion Arnold. So 2 corners are off the board. Arnold and Quinyon Mitchell.
So they'll probably take a quarterback.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? Penix? This is fun.
You would think. I feel like they're the only team that would take Latu. No, the Bucks would take Latu.
Yeah. I don't think he gets past.
He doesn't get past the Bucks.
He doesn't get past Tampa Bay. All right, what are we doing? Letting it ride? Kendall, I'm going to defer to you. I'm going to give you the voice.
I think we gotta let it ride to 28. I don't think it's worth trading up for Latu.
Fair enough.
It's on the edge. To be fair, this is kind of just where I'm at. I could realistically see Brandon Beane making this trade though.
I could see a move here.
Where are we? Six picks away from the Bills right now? This is a very, very doable trade to move up for what could be his edge 1. Latu could very well, if he's medically cleared, be Brandon Beane's edge 1, and we just walked away with him in the 20s for what might be a pick that's in the 60s next year if the Bills do very well, right? If they're getting rid of their 2025 second and this pick, it could look really good, but I personally, I'd rather see the board and see what falls at 28.
All right, fair. What do we get in the comments? Pete says stop at Dallas. All right, we'll stop at Dallas. I really hope I can hit the button in time. Okay. Oh, there goes Latu to Minnesota.
Yeah, Nate I felt Wiggins if they weren't taking a quarterback, it was going to be edge.
All right, so there we go.
Daniel Hunter.
All right, so now we're sitting here at Dallas at pick 24. So AD Mitchell, all the receivers are on the board minus the big 3 and Brian Thomas. The top 3 edges are gone. 3 corners have gone. So if we're looking from a name perspective for a lot of fans, JPJ is there. Johnny Newton is there.
Yep.
AD Mitchell is there. Running back.
Right?
No, I'm just kidding.
DeJean's still on the board, right?
Cooper DeJean is on the board. Oh.
I don't know if he doesn't get past the Packers.
No, I don't think so. I'm not a huge
either way.
guy.
Either way, there. I don't think you trade up for Cooper DeJean.
Fair enough. All right.
I feel like we gotta let it ride.
All right, Kendall, I'm deferring to you. We're gonna let it ride. I'm thinking I have to hit the pause button on us, but I don't. Oh, Chop went to Dallas. That's fine. Cooper DeJean goes to. Oh, damn it!
Oh,
Newton went at 27.
That's tough.
Oh, screw this.
Draw.
Episode over.
I'm
out.
Want to
play anymore. Oh, and you know what sucks too is nobody wants to. No trade offers based on how the board fell.
Terrible.
No, this is kind of interesting too because now we got to kind of sit and play.
Right.
All right, so now no trade back scenario. Although we still could try and make some offers, but it's going to be tough because the mock simulator really won't I like
No
this
one,
comment.
no one
I'll
likes the
trade my,
board.
no, I'll trade my sister's kidney for JPJ.
I think
Ooh,
that means we have to go with
that's
JPJ.
fair. Spin says easy pick here. Take Leggett. Wouldn't hate the center. Spin wouldn't be mad at JPJ. Roy says Mitchell or Franklin. I think Troy Franklin is a false god, but I'm willing to do the chat's will. Oh, Bills are electric. Say trade. He says trade. I love the people who know how the simulator works. And he says trade down to
Immediately.
40. Yes. That's also part of this for me too, is knowing like I try to remove that from my mind because I've done so many of these like randomly where I'm sitting here being like, I know I can get so and so, or I know I can trade back with this team. I don't want to like game up the simulator.
Right.
We're
But to
actually
be
seeing a lot
fair,
of.
anything we do right now, we would not be gaming the simulator. The
That
simulator
is
would
true.
be gaming us.
That is fair. That is fair. There's a lot more answers here for JPJ than I thought there was going to be.
Yeah, same. I honestly, I want to ask you, like, how do you feel about the interior offensive line right now? It feels like the Bills want to move to a offensive line where their guards are maulers, and then their center is kind of a bit
Mm,
more athletic of a move guy.
yeah.
So I'm curious where you think JPJ would fit into that. If that means like McGovern would kick back to guard, or if
Yes,
JPJ would
I
be a
would take
guard.
JP.
Like,
I would take JP. I mean, they could try either if they feel like JPJ is a better fit at guard, like especially with his experience, and what he's done. I also want to confirm. Let me see. I'm just looking up his snap count from a position perspective. You know, it'd be great if I click the right tab. PFF.
for what it's worth, and for the chat, I would be okay with any of those top three guys. I think I would prefer
Mm.
Mitchell or JPJ
Mm.
of this top three, but I think I'm okay with any of that top three on the board.
And so JPJ, all snaps at center last year, 829 of them, but then 350 at right guard in 2022, and then 80 at right guard, 20 at center, and 26 at left guard in 2021. So in his career, 893 center snaps, 430 at right guard, 27 at left guard, 5 at right tackle. So if you do potentially want to kick him into or at guard, you potentially can. If you want to put him at center, again, I think part of the idea with him is having that like versatility inside that he potentially offers. But man, his skill set really does translate to both spots. I would put him at, especially with how the Bills are constructed. Like you asked me, like if I have him, I'm taking him, putting him at center, and then I'm kicking McGovern back to left guard. Not that I dislike David Edwards. I just like him more as the sixth offensive lineman.
Right. That's why I asked you.
And so, man, I'm surprised at how many people said JPJ in
I'm
here.
curious because
Some people are
What was
saying
it?
Worthy. Man.
Bills are electric. He was the one who said go to the Commanders.
So yeah, that's
And
right.
he was. I
Bills are
wanted to
electric said it's
see
down to 80
how
Mitchell.
many picks did the Commanders have? Like, why would
All
they
right.
be incentivized? I'm curious.
Okay. Pick 40. Well, offer. I'm just clicking buttons. I'm not necessarily. So
Oh,
they're not about this.
okay. They are
Sorry. Hold
top
on.
heavy in this
I clicked
draft.
60.
They have a ton of top 100 picks.
Damn, they are not. They are not interested at all. Man, this sucks.
They shouldn't.
I'm offering
be.
the whole. Yeah, no, they're not at all. Good. I hope you burn in hell, Washington.
I think JPJ is the right pick, and then we hope like a Jermaine Burton or Javon Baker.
All right. So we're taking JPJ. I'm gonna let you make the call.
Let's let the chat decide. I think I'm down to. Ooh, I know Leggett's still on the board too. It's just
he is still on the board. If we click wide receivers, let's just take a peek real quick.
Yeah.
Mitchell, Franklin, McConkey, Coleman. Pretty much every receiver is on the board minus the top 4 because only 4 receivers have gone.
I think let's put it up to the chat. I'll narrow it down to 3 and then we'll monitor the chat. No, I mean, come on.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
The people's mock. 80 Mitchell, JPJ, or Leggett. I think those are the 3. Seeing a lot of JPJs.
Everybody has to vote. I am surprised at how many JPJs there are. This is fun.
Yeah. I am actually shocked how how keen people are on
I like
interior
this
offensive
margin. All
line.
these mock drafts have taught me that you either win the Super Bowl or you tank. JPJ, wow. One for
Got a
Mitchell.
Mitchell.
I might call it soon. Oh, Spin wants to trade back up for Leggett.
That could be tough.
Dean says JP. Man, oh my God.
We're
I think we
getting
got
a
to go.
lot of JPJs. Yeah, let's
Right?
roll with it.
It's
Let's roll with
JPJ.
JPJ.
Kendall, you calling it? We're taking JPJ?
Yeah, it's the people's mock.
All right. You've doomed us. Thanks a lot, Kendall.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh, I didn't do 7 rounds. All right. Scratch it. We're doing 7 rounds.
Run it back.
All right.
That's hilarious.
That's actually super hilarious.
Well, at least we got a good thought experiment out there.
Yeah, we did. We got round
honestly,
one on the way and played some games.
I had a plan. I knew we were going wide receiver in the next round. Oh, that's too good.
Okay. Damn, Odunze went again at 8. All right, so we've run it back, everyone. Apologies for my. I comes to yes, do over. Yeah, that never happened. My fault. My fault.
No
You
one
know what's
ever
funny is I
wanted
do that every
JPJ.
once in a while too on my phone. That's wild.
Yeah, I
Okay.
do too.
I can't believe Odunze went again. All right, cool. We're gonna let it rock like we did before. Yep.
Yeah.
So for everybody listening on the audio
like 10
only,
picks.
It went Caleb Williams 1, Jaden Daniels 2, JJ McCarthy. Oh, JJ McCarthy, New England. Marvin Harrison Jr., Neighbors, May, Joe Alt, Roma Dunze. Chicago is on the clock. We are resuming this draft. They took Dallas Turner again. Latham, Fuaga, Brock Bowers, Jared Verse, Quinyon Mitchell, Brian Thomas to Indianapolis.
That's an early Brian Thomas.
Okay, so an early wide receiver grab. All right, so Verse is off the board. 2 of those top edges are gone. We haven't seen Byron Murphy go yet. Does anybody want to trade up to take Byron Murphy? Anybody want to do a trade up? Anything?
I'm not partial to it. I'm going to wait on the chat to see if they have any interest in it. But based on what happened first time around, it seems like they're good on sticking or trading back.
I can't believe I only did 1 round. That's so fun. I thought I had it all queued up. Man, rookie mistake. Bills are electric says no trade up again. All right, cool.
Yeah, everyone's out on the trade up. Yeah, let's get to 22 again and just see what the board's at.
Cool. Oh, that's why there were no trades.
Because no one's picking after the first round.
Yeah, I guess, or maybe that's why I wasn't. Well, okay, Latu went to Miami. Oh, so they're going to go Latu and Phillips. That's funny. Bo Nix went to the Rams. So we got 5 quarterbacks in the first round.
That's huge.
Byron Murphy went to Seattle. Yeah, that's really helpful.
I think that solidifies no trade up. All
right, so the edges are gone. Let the board. Gabe says let the board fall. Everybody wants to let the board fall.
We got to let the board fall with a 5th quarterback?
Yeah, 5th quarterback and only 4 receivers off the board, the big 3 plus Brian Thomas.
Yeah, big 3 wide receivers, big 3 edges, 5 quarterbacks.
All right.
That's a big.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. I'm not reading this comment, but I am seeing it.
That's been put up.
I like this. Penix and Bo Nix. Okay. All right. We're letting it rock until 28.
Yeah, let's get to 28.
All right.
I'm ready to get her again.
Fatanu, Cooper DeJean, Chop Robinson, Nate Wiggins, A.D. Mitchell. Oh, Johnny Newton is on the board. Oh, wow. We have a lot of trade opportunities.
Wants our
Holy
pick.
crap.
Terrion Arnold is on the board right now.
Okay, so now here's one. So the first one I click for trade is Baltimore, right? This is the one that's like my dream, like 30 and 93.
I got to imagine trying to get Arnold.
I think this would be no way this happens in hell. Like, who's giving you the 3rd round pick to move up 2 spots? But listen, the simulator says a 59% chance, so I'm submitting that before. But all right, people, do we want to trade back? Do we want to entertain one of these trade offers? Kendall, what do you think? Do you want to entertain a trade offer, or do you want to sit here and select?
Yeah,
honestly, dude, like
Terrion Arnold would be nuts. The problem is like
are all intriguing.
What does that mean? Like, what does that mean for the cornerback group right now? Like, you pushing back Benford's development? I think what does that mean for Rasul Douglas? Like,
I think Terrion Arnold is, and see, that's a fair question. Like, I think Terrion Arnold for this year is your corner 3, and he's your backup nickel for this year. And then if Benford gets hurt or if Douglas gets banged up, which I'm not trying to put anything negative into the ether, corners get hurt all the time.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Arnold's probably going to see some kind of action, and then he's CB1 or CB2 for you next year. unless Elam somehow surpasses him. And like Matt says, what does that mean for Elam? I really want Elam to be a thing. I just think he's such an unknown quantity at this point. Like, he could really work out. Things could finally click. Babbich's defense and a die being in here in the secondary at CB could really work out in terms of the direction they go in. Maybe everything works out. Or the inconsistency that we've seen, the grabbiness might not be able to just be coached out of him, and it's not going to work out like we want it to. I just think hoping Elam works out as CB3 this year and takes over one of the starting spots next year is more hope-based than it is based on what we've seen.
Oh, man.
I'm torn. A lot of people want to trade back.
I would rather trade back here.
So it could be exactly because there's only two picks that are going to happen.
Exactly.
So, because here's my thought process right now. We would trade back to 30, right? So we can get 30 and 93, I think potentially for pick 28, or I can throw something in later. We can get it.
Bro, we could probably get 30, 93, and 113 for 28 and our second next year.
I don't know if I want to do that deal. I kind of like, I like kind of like this as it stands, unless anybody has. Because here's my thought too. Like, I'm willing right now to take. I want Newton, but I'd be happy with Newton, Arnold, McKinstry,
right?
JPJ.
And you're only losing 2 picks.
Yeah, one of them is going to be there. Like,
no, I'm good sending that. I was getting greedy
trades?
trying to grab 113 as well, but
49ers have 31 and 94. Kansas City has no. I'm not trading Kansas City. Kick rocks.
No.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't want to offer too. Yeah, I'm not going to play that game. I like how this is just simple, cut and dry, clean. Let's see if they'll give us 30 and 93 for pick 28. We like this. I think a lot of the trade does.
Yeah, if it works,
yeah.
If it works, I'll take it. I feel like we're gonna have to give them more. I'd be shocked if they accept this.
All right, so we're gonna do it. You ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll take it.
Oh my god, that's robbery.
Don't take Newton.
They're taking Arnold, right? Wow.
Oh, okay, give me. Wow, they took Xavier Worthy.
That's crazy.
I like it. Texas boys back to back. Mitchell at 27 and Worthy at 28. All right. So now we're sitting here on the clock. Jerjon Newton, aka Johnny Newton, as he wants to go by. Terrion Arnold. Like, my thought is one of these 3 players right here. But I think we know where my heart lies. I like this from Gabe. He had no trades with KC. Screw him. All right. What do we want to do? Bills are Alexa says you have to take Newton.
I want either Newton or JPJ, and I think it's funny. I'm curious where the chat is going to go now.
Newton.
Because, yeah.
Newton or JPJ.
Last sim, it was
also,
all JPJs.
Real quick, I don't know what's going on, Kendall, and I messaged you. For those watching, we went from like 120-something live viewers, and it says it's down to 3. But based on how many people are in the chat, I feel like there's way more people here than 3. So if anybody's watching on YouTube, feel free to tell me how many people here are live. Like, something's broken here on StreamYard or the counter. Now it says 2 people. Only 2 people are watching this live. I'm very confused at the numbers. Oh, Newton. Wow. Everybody's really on the Newton train. Oh, Jim says Franklin. Yeah, Nikki says, yeah, it says 1 for me too. Yeah, I'm super confused. Like, there's no way there's only 2 people in this room right now.
There's too many people commenting for it to be
There's way too many people. Yeah, what the hell?
Right,
Sespinar says 100. Yeah. Cool, I like that. What the hell? Okay, thank you, everybody. All right, so are we in agreement here? I'm sorry for the people who aren't about it. Nice, Roy, says Fig Newton.
You know what I'm sorry for? I'm sorry for the people that got duped in the first mock that thought we were getting JPJ, and now we're getting.
I'm sorry for everyone. I'm very embarrassed that happened. Not really embarrassed, but it's mad funny because I've done that with my phone. Like, I'll do a mock like as I'm falling asleep, and I'll do all these things and thoughts, and then it's like
your mock is on your first round. How you just played the whole board, and then you're like, oh sweet, that's the can.
Yeah, great in your mock, and I'm like, damn it. All right. Another vote for Troy Franklin. I think we go with Newton based on the chat.
Newton. Yeah, the chat wants Newton.
Chat wants Newton. We're men of the people. Oh, I like this so much. Okay.
This is great because we also got that 3rd rounder.
I want to see. No, I refuse to trade with Kansas City. No, I'm not. I'm just going to try and get crazy and be like, let's get like 17 day 2 picks. All right, we're taking Johnny Newton. That's the pick. I like it. Jordan Morgan, Terrion Arnold, Leggett, McConkey, JPJ, Mike Sanders-Till, Polk, Isaac, Max Melton. Okay, I paused here just to pause while we kind of take
I was
stock
gonna
of
ask
everything.
you to do it anyways, because Xavier Legette was taken
Yes.
quickly.
So we took Newton at 30. Jordan Morgan went at 31. Terrion Arnold went. Oh, man, that's a really cool corner group. Terrion Arnold and Trent McDuffie for
I was
Kansas
shocked the
City.
49ers didn't take him.
That's actually a really fair point. Yeah. I like that they took Jordan Morgan, though, kind of keep, again, running
Yeah,
that
both
offense.
work.
So, all right. So Arnold goes, Darius Robinson, Xavier Legette to New England, Lad McConkey to the Cardinals, JPJ to Washington, Sandra Still to, I was going to say to Michigan, to the Chargers, Jalen Polk to Tennessee, Adisa Isaac, wow, early edge to Carolina, Max Melton, the corner to Washington. Anything? Actually, yeah, there's a good comment here from Jim. Says 100 people here, only 29 likes. Yes, more likes, please, and thank you if you folks are enjoying this content. Whether you're enjoying the analysis, the banter, the fact that I apparently don't know how to set a mock to 7 rounds instead of 1, whatever
It's just
fits your fancy. Oh, that's interesting from Roy. He says one watching and it started 7 minutes ago. I don't know what. Yeah, something's broken. I'm stressed. Oh, sorry, Spin. Yeah, Spin said stop at 42 and see if Legette is there. He gone.
Yeah, he's already gone. That
I'm
was my
sorry.
thought too.
Oh, and see now Jim proposes an interesting thought here, right? Like, isn't this scary though that there's no good wide receivers left? And that is the potential risk that you run.
Right.
You do have to be, if that run happens, and I do think this is a realistic conversation to have. I do think that run at wide receiver is going to start at that second round. So I genuinely don't know who's going to be available at wide receiver from pick 29 through pick 59 until the Bills pick it, from at 28 and 60. So although I do love this idea of hey, Newton fell or JPJ fell or Graham Barton somehow falls, so on and so forth, there is a scary. Oh, this is nice. Appreciate this from Mars Bars on Mars saying YouTube is crashing. By the way, the subscription tab isn't working for people. Evil. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I've been super worried and stressed. We went down dramatically and I didn't know what the hell was happening. So I appreciate, and I also appreciate everybody in the chat. Let me know what it says for them. The chat is very supportive. I appreciate it.
This is why we're doing the People's Mock.
That's right. Dean says, is Pearsall still there? He is, but this is the reason, right? You get into a, I love that we got Johnny Newton, but now we're kind of sitting, hoping and praying that certain dudes are going to fall to 60. And that is, I think, why the wide receiver in round 1 people are so vocal.
But we got a 3rd round pick back.
We did, so we can double dip.
Fourths, yeah, but that means fourths are more expendable in a trade up.
Also
we
true.
can try and snipe a guy now. The problem, who are we targeting now that, Polk, Legette,
I think to
Mitchell,
to Dean's point, where is Dean? Dean said, is Pearsall still there? If I'm trading up for a receiver right now, it's Ricky Pearsall, and then I am, but again, depends on what we package. I'm hoping if I'm getting Ricky Pearsall, then I'm pairing that with Javon Baker. That's what my aim is for.
I would want Baker or Thrash.
But I don't know what Elizabeth says it. What about Baker? Isn't he our stealth X? I think, for me, sitting here, I think Baker's going to be there at 60. And then I think we take I think we take BPA at 93, which could be a receiver, or you take receiver again at pick 128.
I was going to say, if we sit and pick Baker at 60, I think 93 becomes trade bait. We start to try and move up for someone from 93.
And here's a good comment here from Josh
saying one of the next two has to be trade up.
Fair. Josh, and I like his comment here from Josh, says, I'd counter the wide receiver run fear with talent still being on the board, i.e. Pearsall, Roman Wilson, Javon Baker, Jermaine Burton, Jamari Thrash, Keon Coleman, and Johnny Wilson.
Keon Coleman.
I forgot about Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman didn't go?
I don't think so.
I can't remember what happened between this one and the one I screwed up. I hate that you can't see the board. That's such a dumb thing. Yeah, but I'm forgetting what happened between this one and the one I screwed up. So, yeah, Keon Coleman is there. Pearsall is there. Also, let's play this game, right? And again, it's tough because it's computers and not actually people. But what did Green Bay do? I don't think Green Bay is going to take a wide receiver. They took Chop Robinson first. I don't think Green Bay takes a receiver. I don't think Houston does. Atlanta shouldn't because they took Odunze. The Raiders probably don't. The Saints are a possibility. The Colts already took Brian Thomas, so they're probably out. The Giants, who did the Giants do? The Giants took Drake May, so they're a possibility. Jags, no. Bengals, no. Philly.
Why don't we sim to 40 to the Colts pick?
Okay, so we're simming to 46.
Yeah, let's try and see what's on the board at 46.
Okay. I'm just I just want to be sure to
So
click the
scared,
buttons.
so much.
No, because it moves. Like this is mad stressful.
There's Coleman.
Okay. Oh, so am I
All
a
right,
tie? I
so
forgot.
only
Only
Keon
Keon Coleman
Coleman
went
and Tyler Newman, for those of you who are thinking safety.
safety people.
Safety Hive is pissed.
Yeah, the safety high is angry. All right. So a lot of the receivers are on the board that everybody likes, minus Keon Coleman. So if we're running through those names, like Josh mentioned, Ricky Pearsall is there, Roman Wilson is there, Javon Baker is there, Jermaine Burton is there. Character concerns and off the field stuff for Burton, so that's a little wonky. But his on the field tape is super awesome. Jamari Thrash is still there. Coleman is gone. Johnny Wilson is still there.
I feel like at that point we could probably afford to sim to 50 because the Steelers look like the next team that would really consider wide receiver.
Okay, we're gonna sim to 50. Oh, I like this proposal from Spin, who says I like drafting Leggett in the first and trading up for Newman.
I like that combo too.
Mm.
The problem is like I
Mm.
feel so much better about trading up now that we have a third. Like the
Oh, that's
entire
fair.
draft changes. Like the
Yes.
flexibility that we have completely changed by that 2-pick move down to 30.
I'm looking at all the receivers that have gone. I was looking at the comment here from my name is Jeff saying Troy Franklin, please. What do you think of Troy Franklin? I think he's a false god. I don't mind him. Like if he falls to 60, I think that's fun. I don't love him enough to trade up for him.
I mean, admittedly, as someone who's watched one game of him and then has watched the combine, I'm a little iffy on this guy who is prophesized as someone who's going to be speed demon, and he comes in lighter than his listed weight and runs slower than expected. Like that's pretty suspect.
I also
But I
don't like the
understand
whole.
it's just a 40. I do understand that.
But
Like
then
game
like the
speed,
idea of
10
like
speed.
he was like he's sick and that's why he also weighed less and didn't run well.
Oh, I
Which
didn't hear that.
again is fair because he also looked really ugly in drills to the point that I was like, what the hell is going on with him? So I do buy some of like him being sick. I just don't think he's as complete of a player as people talk about. Like I think he's more closer to a one-trick pony than he is a complete wide receiver, which isn't bad because his one trick is being super fast, accelerating in the open field and ball tracking downfield with the zoomies. So like that's not a bad thing. Like I don't mind adding
However,
that.
I don't want to get stuck in a world again where we're living with a wide receiver that has limitations.
Agreed. And I think that's fair. That's why I'd rather take someone like Baker who has that X skill set, which
Right.
fits into that basketball lineup of wide receiver. There's
Like,
also still good.
at least with Baker's limitations, it's not limiting him from doing certain things that are asked of him at the position.
Yes. And I also like some of the idea, like even Elvis came in and said Polk, like Jalen Polk could be there. Jalen McMillan could be there. Like there's going to be, I think, good receiver options there at 60. So I'm okay kind of sitting there. And
Wait,
who
wasn't
else?
Polk was taken? Polk was
got
taken in the 30s.
No. Oh, he did. Polk is not there. Wowzers. He went super early. Okay, so Jalen McMillan is there. I correct myself. What else? Roy was very adamant over here saying trading up this far in round 2 for a wide receiver is not smart. I'm okay letting the board fall to 60. Are you down for that?
I'm down for it. I think a lot of guys could go, but I'm down to let it ride because there are I'm targeting 50, but that's not a lot. So let's just let it ride to 60. We're almost there.
You sure?
Yeah, there's like still 4 guys that we like.
LA Kendall is a gambler. All right, we're gonna let it ride. Anybody opposed to that in the mock?
Bob in the chat. Let it roll.
Bob says let it roll. All right, we're gonna let it roll. Oh, I'm so stressed to click this damn button. All right, no, we're letting it roll, so I don't have to click anything. Troy Franklin goes to Jacksonville. Roman Wilson. Kamari Lassiter, I like. Bullard, Penix. Come on. Ricky Pearsall went 2 right before. Okay, now.
Can we acknowledge, though, that the Dolphins just drafted Penix?
I mean, lefty quarterbacks, man, fit the system. Okay, so. Like, oh, man. Okay,
So
so
Baker is obviously still available.
absolutely. Who Cincinnati? Oh no, Cincinnati doesn't have a pick until 80, so
That's
we're not
way
doing
too
that trade.
far.
Forget that. Okay, so man, I like the idea of Chris Braswell here, or Christian Haynes. Okay, so let's take a look at wide receiver because that's what everyone's here for. So Malachi Corley, Jermaine Burton, Devontae Walker, Javon Baker, which was my hope. Johnny Wilson, Jalen McMillan, Malik Washington, Jamari Thrash, Jacob Cowing, Anais Smith, Brendan Rice, Taj Washington. A lot of receivers available for selection here. Everyone seeing this list. What do good comment here from Dean. Dean saying Wilson, Franklin, and Tez had the 3 most visit points. Yeah, Tez. Devontae Walker just visited, I think, if I'm not crazy.
Yeah, somewhat recently.
So now here, and this is a comment here from Matt. I mentioned Matt 716 Matt wants Chris Braswell. He says Edge quickly falls off a cliff.
It does.
I am not opposed to that in any way, shape, or form. If the chat wanted Chris Braswell, I would go for that. I do love Javon Baker. Again, his skill set of being that prototypical X from a size and frame and play style perspective. The stem work, in some of his stem work and route tree work still needs polishing, but he's got high floor with it already. His ability to separate at the catch point, the physicality, the release package. And I also do think his mentality helps the room. Like he is in that. I mean, he told so I don't even know if I told you this. So Eric and I both interviewed him at the Senior Bowl.
Oh.
And so I asked him first about his like release package because he was cooking to his off the line at the Senior Bowl. And his exact words to me were, I was like, hey, like, what do you kind of asked him, like, how do you prepare for this? Like, what do you do? Yada, yada. And his exact words were, I already know what everybody's finna to do. So I'm just going to beat him off the line. And it is what it is. And I was like, okay. And then he goes to Eric and Eric asked him like, I forget something. Eric asked him a question of like, what's your mentality going out there? Something like that. And he was basically like, his mentality is kill the DB. And I was just like, I love you. Like, just come on right now. Like, let's do this.
Come to my squad.
And I love this comment from Matt saying, imagine Twitter if we don't go wide receiver here. That's absolutely.
The
that's
chat
absolutely
is having a tough time right now saying that we have to go wide receiver.
I also, too, real quick, I really do like Jermaine Burton from an on the field perspective. Like he could push a top 10 receiver ranking for me as I solidify these things going forward. I just think to Dean's perspective, like the character concerns, I don't know what his interviews are like. And there are, even aside from like the fan thing with the girl from Tennessee after the game against Bama, I played a clip last week where I posted a clip last week. It's a beautiful route against Tennessee. He scores a touchdown and he runs this, like it's in the low red zone, maybe from about like the fifth. No, not the low red zone, maybe from like the 15. And he releases inside, plants his right foot and makes it look like he's running a corner to the back of the end zone. So again, he plants off his right foot. He's lined up on the left side. He plants his right foot, but instead of coming down with his left foot, he like hopscotch jump steps with his right foot again, puts it in the ground, pivots and turns back inside. The corner, though, is pressing out, thinks he's running a corner route. So he goes back. There's all this space. It's a touchdown. I've never seen anyone run a route like that. It was sudden. It was deceptive. It was beautiful. Then he catches the ball in a yard into the end zone. The corner tackles him. He 2 feet leg press kicks the corner off him with both feet, like 2 foot, kicks the hell out of him for no reason. And it's just like, unless you're in the interview room with him and you can really be like, no, like he's actually a good dude or we're clearing him. I just think he's got too many red flags right now from an off the field perspective. But if we're talking pure tape, I would take Jermaine Burton here and I would not think twice.
Yeah, right now I'm between Burton and Baker because of what it does freeing up that next.
I don't think it, to Elizabeth's point, yeah, he punched like a lady Tennessee Vols fan kind of, or like, I think she was trying to film him and either snuffed her or hit her in the face. Like, it's not ideal when it, like, even if, like, I don't know who's going to take him from an on the field perspective. I love the tape, even with some of the after the whistle type of stuff. But yeah, I can't pick him unless I know what he's like and we're not in that room. Oh, Elvis says he's good with any wide receiver but Baker. All right, Kendall, what are your thoughts here? What are your thoughts here? Are we going receiver, Kendall? Yes?
I think so, because I think
Okay.
by going wide receiver here, it means that we don't have to do that with 93,
Oh
and
my
it
God. Hold
means
on. You got to stop, bro. Like, why does this mock stink? Because we didn't do what you wanted in the first round? Like, goodness gracious. Johnny Newton is sick. A lot of the chat wanted it. Kendall and I did. Like, we're not there wouldn't be in so much trouble not getting any talent at wide receiver by now. Look at the guys that are still on the board. There's a lot of talent
there's a
there at the
lot of wide
receiver
receiver
spot.
talent.
Oh, he
Oh,
says he's just messing. I don't believe
he
you,
got
Nikki.
you.
I
He
don't
got you
believe him.
good if
I
he's
don't
messing.
believe him because he's always stop lying, Nikki. I don't. I don't. Now I don't trust you. Now I can't trust anything you said ever. You've lied to me after
I
I
think
lied
you
to
might have,
everybody and
Nikki. I
accidentally
think you
did a
might have
one-round
just
mock.
lost your vote for the remainder of this draft.
Now I don't know what to do anymore. All right, we're going
Uh,
receiver
I
because Nikki
I
hates
think
us.
I think we have to go, especially with the character thing. I think it's Javon Baker. My thing with Devontae Walker is similar to God, someone we just talked about before. I'm gonna go back to Gabe Davis though. It's kind of just the one trick pony type of idea. I don't want to be stuck with someone who's just only vertical route tree and they can't do anything else. Like, what if we have to win a 5 yard route
Yes,
and he can't do it?
yes.
Like,
Well,
I don't like that idea.
Tez
Um,
Walker, when he runs, it's beautiful. Like he glides. He's so smooth. He's so
right.
fast, but there's issues with consistently catching the football. He is a bit of a hothead at times. He had a horrible senior bowl. He dropped like
Yeah.
everything. It was really in his head, but he can fly. Like it's beautiful to watch.
And that's
Um,
something the offense needs, but like you
yes.
can get that with Javon Baker
Yeah.
and more. Like, it might be a little bit less on the vertical side, but you're still getting it.
Yeah, he's not gonna Baker's not flying by dudes and
Exactly.
creating 3 yards
But
of
he can
separation
stack
on a go route.
guys.
He can stack guys with his stem work, but then also separate at the catch point and like big body dudes, which is why I'm okay
Exactly.
with it.
I
Man,
think
part
it's
of me
Baker because of what it does freeing you up the rest of the draft. It means you don't need an X. It means that you've
yes,
fulfilled getting a prospect at X and you can draft any wide receiver the rest of the draft and feel satisfied getting two.
that
However,
is true.
someone put it in the chat. I
Guns
think
up.
there is a thought here about,
I
and this is
feel I
getting
feel I feel
greedy.
Nikki on this one real quick. I am upset
Yeah,
that we missed
yeah,
I was hoping
that is
Pearsall was
upsetting.
gonna be there at 60, and then I
And
was
we'd
gonna
have a
try and
decision.
yeah, and then I was gonna try and trade up and get Baker.
Right. So this brings me to my thought.
Oh.
We could go edge here
Yes, we could go with Braswell, absolutely.
and then trade up for Baker using 93 and 144 or 93 and
Oh,
160,
I
something like
like that.
that. Um,
I like that idea.
However, I would like to invoke the name of Marshawn Nealand. I'm curious what you think of him because I know he fits prototypically the Bills
So
archetype.
he's another guy. We were talking about tape earlier. Nealand is a guy who I've seen all 22, but it hasn't been complete games. It's been stuff that people have like sent me. I
Mm,
haven't gotten like actual like game tape to evaluate his stuff, but he is an archetype fit. Long, power, compressor type dude, moves better than he really has any right to at his size, like a 34-inch wingspan, like 260 something pounds. Like he's big, he's long, he's strong, has better change of direction than he should for his position and size and frame. Um, I do like him. I like Braswell more from the known quantity perspective.
okay.
Just although I haven't been like a huge fan of Braswell from a pass rush moves standpoint, but I just think you get those Alabama boys and they know how to set the edge. He can go through dudes. He can compress. Oh damn! Elizabeth says if we miss Baker though, we're gonna come
Yeah,
at you,
I saw that.
Kendall.
She's got a point. I now I'm starting to
Mm.
I'm thinking maybe the move is take what we can get. Let's get Baker and then let's target a trade up for Braswell or Nealand.
I like the idea
Because
of
there's going to
taking
be
Brad.
wide receivers available. Like, we have way too
Ah.
many picks, like more than what we're going to use.
Man, edge really does fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, because here's the thought too, like real quick, not to keep dragging this out. And then once we get to the day 3 guys, we'll go a little
Yeah,
faster.
we'll go quick.
But like I'm cool with Ellis can do some things. I like Braswell more. I do like Nealand. I actually like some things about Xavier Thomas, but it falls off a cliff like after. Like you've got like once you get past the Austin Booker range, I'm not a huge fan of Trice, although I don't hate it. I wouldn't hate the idea of Braylon Trice at 93, but edge really isn't ideal as you go forward. But again, even receiver, like I just feel it's kind of negligent to not go receiver here. Although I really do like the idea of I like this. Take your
I
time. The
love
longer you
that.
take.
I just
No, it's fun. Also, too, I think this is the idea of like if we make it as interactive as possible, like it's gonna take longer. Like if I was doing this by myself, I'm just clicking stuff. But between you, me, and then the chat, I think it's
Mhm.
fun and I like it.
I just really like the idea of
Oh,
Neeland. Back when I was charting Western Michigan, the only 2 players on their I guess 3 players that were standing out on their team, Sky Moore, uh,
oh yeah, good call.
Neeland, and Braden Fisk. The only 3 players on their team
Oh,
that
I
would stand
forgot
out.
he was
And
there. Good
Neeland,
call.
yeah, and Neeland was a freshman at that time. Or maybe he was a redshirt freshman at
Do
that
you
time.
want to do the risky idea of taking an edge here and
I
trying to trade
don't.
back up for Baker? So
I
take
would like
Baker.
to do the inverse. I
So
would
take
like to
Baker.
do Baker and then I would like to trade up for an
You know
edge
what I
because
want to
we have
do?
way too many day 3 picks, like way
Where
more
do
than
we
what we need.
think? So you want to trade 93 and a day 3 pick and move up?
Yeah.
Where do you want to try and move up to? I'm going to try and do that now before we make this pick,
So we see the board. That's smart.
even though we've been on the clock for 98 minutes.
We'll forfeit the pick. It's fine.
All right. Where do you think we like I'm asking you like we're dealing with real people here and not computer simulations like we're in the friggin' Matrix.
The Ravens are
Oh.
definitely taking an edge. The
I also
Panthers
don't
just got rid
know
of Brian Burns. What would it take to get 65?
All right.
It's
What are we on?
extremely unlikely, but
65, 93. Nothing. Okay. I didn't know if the meter wasn't going to move at all. I was like, what the hell's
hey,
going on?
what about wait, what about our next year's second?
Boy.
I know it's a lot, but it would be next year, and hey, if the Bills do well next year, it could be pick 63.
Oh, they're 100% in.
So, yikes. It's too far.
Hold on.
It's too much. We don't need
163.
all these.
I think it's too
picks.
much to trade.
I agree. Probably gotta go into the 70s.
All right, everybody. What are your thoughts? Final calls from everybody in the chat. Bob says, is there coffee being served? No, but there will be cake after and cookies. Kendall brought both. Right, Kendall?
Yeah.
You forgot the cake and cookies.
Maybe.
Every time you have one job and it's the cake and cookies.
This
Oh,
sucks.
all right. Take Baker. Patrick wants Jaden Hicks. Yeah, blueberry. Good call. Like the blueberry muffins. Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, Sabres dude says take edge now. Trade up for wide receiver. Oh, well, I'm gonna let the chat do. Oh, Dean wants Hicks. Sespinar wants to know if there's buttercream or cream cheese frosting. There's only one right answer. All right, Roy. We're making this interactive. I'm sorry. He says take Baker and move on for the love of God.
Let's just take Baker, and honestly, we might just have to sim to like mid 70s.
I don't think a trade up's gonna happen, but all right. So we're taking Javon Baker. We're doing this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Man, part of me really wants to take Braswell or Nealon right now.
It's just such a risk. It's such a high risk.
I want to do it so bad.
What's stopping you?
Everyone yelling at me. No, just I think the overall like value. Like I'm afraid of like losing out on Baker, who I think is one that I really want in this instance, and is somebody who I've really targeted like for a majority of this class.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Baker at 60 is the right pick.
Baker it is. Just torpedoed this whole draft. Oh, Braswell literally went at 61. Tampa, Hicks, Cooper, Malachi Corley, Andrew Phillips, Jonah Ellis, Blake Corum. Okay, I'm stopping because somebody in the chat said check with Joe Shane at pick 70, who is the Giants GM. All right.
Fair point.
60, 93. I'm just always just clicking buttons to see what. All right. So, okay, this would get us up, which is 4 picks for. This would get us up for that move. Yeah, we'd have to give up 93, 144, 160, and 163. But we'd still have, so we'd get 70. Then we'd still have 128, 133. We would still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks left over after.
The problem is, what would we get
Sorry,
from
Nikki.
200 on?
Exactly. Then you're looking at like running backs. You're just taking flyers on dudes that you like. Maybe like maybe a safety that you like is there late. But that's exactly your point. Like you're not operating with a lot of great stuff.
At that point, I would rather try to take out one of those 160s and put in a future. So we could still hold on to one of those 160s and put in a future.
They would do it for a 4th round. A 4th next year. But then we have nothing between 3 and 6 next year. Is that worth it for you? Yeah, that's as to what Bills Our Lecture says. That's a lot of picks for Nealand.
It is.
And that's who the trade up would essentially be for Marshawn.
Yeah, right now. That's definitely who it seems to be for.
Oh, I hate that I can't check the board.
Chat, with this, is this worth it? Do you want an edge? Do you want Marshawn Nealand for this proposed trade on the board? It would be to move up to 70.
Bob immediately was like, no.
Yeah, just fat no. We'd be giving up pick swap here to get up to 70. Also 144, 160 in next year's 4.
Oh, yeah.
Josh says to pull 144.
Oh, wow. No shot. Much. No. If I give 144 and give up 160, yeah, no. It's got to be everything. Yeah, I think it's too much for me.
All right. Let's let it roll another 10.
And I think the chat picks is with that as well.
Yeah, for sure. The chat is definitely with that. Negative Ghost Rider, says Krisky.
What did she say?
Negative Ghost Rider.
I like that.
This is why we do it for the chat.
Again, these are just thought exercises. These are fun. Brandon Coleman, Devontae Walker. There goes
Nealand
to the
Nealand.
Jets.
That stings.
Late. Oh, Burton to the Broncos. I really thought he was going to go to the Raiders, like somebody in the chat said. Okay, Jalen McMillan went. Xavier Thomas went. I'm just going to let it roll to 93. Are we cool with that?
Yeah, at this point, is there an edge guy that you're really keen on at this point? Like,
no.
Austin Booker's I like the idea of potentially
waiting on Austin Booker and seeing what happens there, but no, not anybody that I'm trying to trade up for. I'm letting the board fall if it's up to me.
Yeah, I'm good with that. The only guy I could think of was Booker.
Miami forfeited. Kick rocks. Oh, Booker goes to Dallas. Oh, Malik Washington went. Son of a burr. And Cooper Beebe went. I hate this.
This draft stinks.
I'm so angry. Oh, who took him? Tampa. Shysters. And hucksters. Oh, Braylon Trice is still there.
Man, he fell. He was inside a lot of people's edge.
He was around one guy for people.
Yeah.
I just don't love.
He's got a power profile, right?
He really does. Like, he is just play strength, heavy hands. Like, he's knocking you back and or going through you. He's big and bulky and stiff. And just there's a lack of fluidity. Like, he feels like a toy from the 90s that like had no like movement. Rigid is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I'm just not a huge
sounds like
fan. I also think, what is his? Let me go to my notes. He's got 32-inch arms, which is also not good for an edge. But he's violent. Like, he will go through you. A ton of pressures.
Go through.
Yeah. What do we got here for people? Sorry, I was in my notes. Oh, a lot of people want Dadrion Taylor Demerson. False God.
How much more would you like him if his initials were DDT?
Oh, like wrestling? That would actually be sweet. All right, what do we want to do here? I don't mind Braylon Trice here, although I don't love it.
Can you go to the rest of the edges just so we can get prospects on the future?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, Cam Kitchens is here.
Whoa.
Oh, sorry.
Did they update their rankings?
Yeah, they did. I don't think the 40, before everybody bites my head off, I don't think the 40 is indicative of his range. But anyway, here's the edges. Braylon Trice, Brennan Jackson, Mo Camara from Colorado State, Gabriel Murphy, Javonte Jean-Baptiste, Nelson Cesar, Braden McGregor, Miles Cole, Grayson Murphy. So a lot of day 3 guys that are left here.
2 questions on edge.
Yeah.
Which Murphy is the Murphy that Russ loves?
Not Gabriel. Grayson. I always confuse their names. Yeah, the other Murphy.
And then, what are your thoughts on
it is
Nelson
Gabriel Murphy.
Caesar?
It is Gabriel Murphy. Hold on. I think
Double
it is
checking.
Gabriel Murphy. Yeah, I am. It is Gabriel Murphy who Russ likes.
So I don't hate waiting on that. And then what are your thoughts on Nelson Caesar? He was someone who popped for me when I scouted
Yeah,
Houston.
I think he's in that mix of like dudes that I don't mind taking on day 3. Like I don't want to take him in day 2, but I put like Cesar in that mix of him and like Brennan Jackson and Kamara, who like I don't love Kamara, especially given his size profile, but
Right.
if Nelson Cesar is there in the 140s and 160, like he's a dude who I'd consider. But for me, here is a little rich, although I'm not completely opposed to the idea of him.
Given the way the board fell, I feel like safety has to be the pick.
Safety has to be a pick. Okay, I know some people in the chat like safety. Man, there's so many dudes who I really like. Like I love Cam. I like Tyke. I don't think Tyke is a true safety as much as he is like a big nickel apex like he did. Although he can, it's just a tough projection for me. I love Vaki from Utah. I like him more than Cole Bishop, who is a fun dude as well. This is my boy here, Malik Mustafa, who I would love to just sit and take at
I mean,
144.
we could probably double dip and get him.
Yeah, you probably could.
We still have so many picks. I'm gonna put it up to the chat between Taylor Demerson and Kinchins because I think that's who
Oh,
I'm
the
between
chat's
at
gonna
this
say
moment.
Taylor Demerson.
Probably. What's good at interior offensive line?
I would have taken Cooper Beebe, is what I would have done. Mason McCormick, Cedric Van Prant. I like Christian Mahogany. He's a guard I like.
People like Hunter Nourzad, right?
I haven't watched him fully or enough to give a legit opinion, but I like Zinter later. I like Bo Lemur. I even don't mind Keegan. I like Mahogany. I wouldn't have very many reservations of taking Mahogany right now. Oh,
That was kind of the name that was sticking out to me. Other than safety.
Oh, who are the corners that are available? Kalen Carson, Chris. Wow, they did update their rankings. Chris Abrams, Drain, Jarvis Brownlee. I like Carson, Abrams, Drain, and Brownlee, but I think we could get one of them with 128 or 133.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge Demerson guy. If you want to pull the trigger on Dominic Puny, who also projects the guard, that's fun. Oh, all right. I'm scrolling through my notes and different things. So, chat, what do you want to do? I'll let the chat decide. Oh, Nikki says Kinchins. Mike says DTD. Sorry, Ant.
It's tough. It's a tough one.
I think a lot of people are out on Kitchens because of the 40 time. And so they translate the 40 time to him having limited range. And I don't think that's the case. My biggest concern with Cam Kitchens while we're on it is how rogue he goes at times. Like he goes off script and just try jump stuff thinking something's coming and they're running double slants from the backside and he jumps one thinking that's where the ball is going and it's not. And now that corner who's playing outside leverage gave up the completion and the safety isn't there inside and dude is housing it because Cam jumped the inside slant instead of the outside slant. Little things like that. But there's so much I like to his game. I think he can play single high and two high. He can play match coverage. He'll fit in this defense. Like I like what he can be and what he is. But
I got two things in the chat. Michael Hall still being here makes me feel bad
if we didn't get
our
Newton,
first round pick.
I would take Michael Hall in an instant right now.
Right.
If we hadn't taken Johnny Newton.
And then I kind of like the thought of taking Mahogany here.
So do I.
And then taking the safety that falls.
Actually, who I like too, Dominic Puny played tackle at Kansas. He's big and nasty and strong. Like he had some good reps against Johnny Newton, ironically. I like Dominic Puny here from where's my 33-inch arms? Yeah, because he's gonna go inside. He played tackle a bit, but he can play tackle, but you're projecting him inside. I like the idea of Puny there.
There's enough going on for us at safety to wait. Like we don't need to take a safety here. We have so many picks in the next
I agree.
30
I'm
picks.
not opposed to a safety here. I'm kind of leaning Dominic Puny from Kansas, who played left tackle this year, 728 snaps, but he was a guard last year. I do think he projects to guard. Again, he played. Um, boy, Da, 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 da. What do we think? What does everybody want to do?
I want O-line. I want interior O-line. That's my vote for this one.
Who do you want? So I think Puny projects to the inside. Puny is a mauler. Ooh, got some love for Puny there. Protect Josh.
Don't
I'm
have
not
to say
opposed to
much.
Mahogany. I'm not opposed to Puny. Sorry, I know it's pronounced Puny, but I just say Puny every time because it makes me giggle. What do we want to? My thought here is Puny, but I'll go wherever. And see,
I'm leaning Mahogany.
I haven't watched Mason McCormick, so
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
probably
have,
a
and I
tough
know some
guy to get
people in the
tape on.
chat are throwing some love for him. I haven't watched. I like Patrick's thought here: nastiest interior offensive lineman available. Puny fits that. Like he is a nasty man.
I'm
Large
good for it.
hands. He's got shock. He can control dudes.
I'm good for it. I'm splitting hairs at this point. At this point, like we need someone to compete with David Edwards.
And he doesn't like his big thing is like overall how he's built. Like he's a high cut guy. And again, that arm length combined with overall, I think just how he moves projects better at the inside. Like, but you don't have to worry about the arm length and that movement when you're a guard and you're nasty and you're powerful. I do like Zach Zinter later, but I'm scared to wait for people.
Do you think Spin brings up a petty point, but he has a point nonetheless? Do any of these guard prospects have a chance to win the job year one? And do any of the safety prospects available have a chance to win the job year one?
I don't. I mean, I think Rapp and Edwards present such a high floor. Like, I don't know. There's a chance. I think if you take a safety here, like if you take Cam or for some people for Demerson, like if you get a safety early enough, there's a chance that they can beat out like the guys that the Bills have, right? Like, I think if the Bills take Cam Kitchens, there's a chance he beats out Mike Edwards. Like similar even for Demerson, although I'm not high on Demerson like that. I do think again, I know Edwards presents a similar floor. I think it's a similar question, like either way. Like I think if you take an offensive lineman now or a safety now, it's not necessarily a move for 2024. It can be to give you depth, but I think it's more of a move for 2025 and beyond. And I do like Puny, and if he beat out Edwards at guard, I wouldn't be completely shocked.
And I think
also,
I'm gonna give you executive decision.
No, but this is for the people.
The people are kind of split on where to go here. It seems like safety and O-line is definitely where people are right now, but there's not a name that's taking consensus in the chat. Like
No.
DDT was obviously the first thing everyone saw.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say DDT?
You did, but I knew what you meant.
Let's go.
Yeah, like if I have to take one right now, like if I have to take a safety, I'm taking Cam Kitchens, which I have no problem taking. But if everybody wants O-line, I would take Dominic Puny. And I know it says tackle, but he's going to play inside. Or Mahogany, who I like as well. Or we can take Cam Kitchens.
I'm between Mahogany and Kitchens. That's who I'm between.
Kitchens? Safety? Kitchens? Is everybody okay with that?
He heard Kitchens.
Jason says Kitchens. Hey, man. I'm not going to complain.
Say less. Ant's finding the name.
Kendall, you're making the call. What are we doing?
Throw it down. We already saw 2 Kitchens.
Oh, we did? We saw 2 Kitchens already?
In the chat,
should we try and trade back?
We've seen 3.
Hold on.
How far is this? Sorry, the numbers.
Oh, wow. So we could trade back 5 picks. Yeah, but I think Kitchens is safety too.
I would just lock up the guy.
Kitchens it is. Fine with me. Cam Kitchens. Sorry, everybody. Don't yell at me.
Look at all those Kinchins. Nice,
No
Dennis.
problem from me.
Nice.
I do think like Mike Edwards is real interesting with like what he and Rap offer. But my main thing is Edwards is on a 1-year deal. So say he crushes it, right? Then you got to pay him to come back next year, potentially, or he goes somewhere else. And I also don't know, like, if he's even going to be the guy they want to bring back next year. Like, that's why I don't mind going safety here. And again, I'm just trying to not let my heart get in the way and be a man of the people. Like, I have no problem taking
No,
Cam Kitchens, who
the
I
people
love.
were okay with that. The people
Chris
liked
Abrams'
that.
drain went at 125. Son of a bitch.
And Brendan Rice went one.
I'm getting so
before
mad.
us.
Like, these things matter. Like, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is reality.
Zach Zinter is there. Isaiah, oh man, I like Vaki so much. He's so fun. My thought here is, so I think we can get Zinter later. I would like to take Jarvis Brownlee, the corner from Louisville, is my thought here.
You want to pitch me on him? Pitch me on him. I was going to tell you to look at running backs.
Oh, okay. Also, keep me. I'm fully into this, so I can't see.
Someone said Braylon Allen.
Braylon is Braylon Allen there? No, Braylon Allen's gone.
See him, yeah.
He went to 124 to the 49ers.
That's a scary prospect.
So we're looking at Isaiah Davis, Will Shipley, Jaden Sheridan, Cody Schrader, Kamani Vidal, Isaac Garendo, Rasheen Ali, Dylan Abe, Jason McClellan.
There's nothing too great here.
Brownlee had a good Senior Bowl. I liked him there. He's going to give you special teams. He can be a backup nickel. Short arms. I think he's more kicking because of his size. I think you're looking at him more as a nickel, but there's a chance he can be an outside guy.
What's his size?
Hold on, I lost my notes. 5'10", 194 pounds, but 32
Oh, he's got a
inch
shot.
arms. Like 31,
he's got
32 inch arms. I like the idea of Brownlee here. Oh, Miller wants Dwayne Carter. Yeah, Carter might be the best player on the board, but
yeah, I was thinking that. It's just with Newton, like it's kind of a logjam, no?
Hold on, no. Oh, he is still there. Oh, Mason Smith is there too. That's actually kind of cool.
Who are the best wide receivers on the board? At defensive tackle, though. Like, how are we going to get all these guys snaps?
And then receiver. Now we're trying to double dip. A lot of these receivers have gone. I like the idea of Anthony Gould later. Is who I'm trying to target from Oregon State. He can fly. So Chuckles World saying double dip at wide receiver. Yeah, we don't have the room for 2 defensive tackles, which I'm annoyed at how the board fell earlier with Michael Hall. And then again, even now with,
that was frustrating.
Dwayne Carter, Mason Smith. For what it's worth, I don't think the board falls this way in real life. Like, I don't think Dwayne Carter and Mason Smith are sitting there in the 4th round like this. Maybe Carter and Tyler Davis. I don't think Mason Smith is. But even I could see both of those guys.
What about Hall at 93? You think that happens?
He's weird. Like, I've seen a lot of projections for people of like, I like this. QB, do we really trust this Josh character? I think, what did you ask me about Hall? I could see Hall going in like the 70s or like in the hundreds because he's on the smaller side and he doesn't have a ton of snaps, but his snaps are so productive and the flashes are so wild. I vote I would like to go corner here.
Who are
if anybody cares?
That is something I wanted to hear.
Also, too, like even if like
the rest of the corners, that's
give me
really
somebody with an opportunity to like play outside, but he's aggressive. He functioned really well at the Senior Bowl, and even if from an arm perspective, you want him more as the slot, he can be a legit nickel, which is I think is a thing you need given how Taron Johnson plays. But I think he also has a chance to play on the outside.
So my only reservation would be your thoughts on Kamal Hatton.
Oh, I watched him a little bit, and I didn't hate him, but I didn't love him.
So he is not precluding you from taking Brownlee?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I also like Brownlee, better.
Is there a value corner that's currently on the board right now where you're like, I can pass on Brownlee and we can still snipe a corner later?
No, I don't mind DJ James from Auburn.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of conviction on any of that though. that wasn't. Yeah,
No, I
I'm
don't
good with
mind him. Like, I would rather have Brownlee.
I'm
I
good
mean,
with Brownlee. I think people are really sleeping on the corner
yes,
need for this team. I think if there's no prospect, there's no hope for actually grabbing a guy that you have confidence in. I think you got to take him where you can get him and acknowledge that we have so many picks and we have another pick in 5 picks.
that's my thought. I
I'm good
also
with taking the
don't.
best
I
one
saw
that
the
you like.
comment in the chat. I think of what do I think of Cam Hart? I just wasn't impressed with him at the Senior Bowl, and the more I see him on tape, like again, I don't mind him, but what are you laughing at? His
Let's be
movement,
real, we're drafting Pitt CB.
his movement just doesn't do much for me. I think he's more name than he is like the tape that I like, which is a shame because his size is great. Like I think he's 6 feet and 200 pounds. My vote is Brownlee. What do we think?
I'm good to lock it in.
Cool.
I like that. Let's get us to 133, and then we have a bit more of a weight. We can actually kind of
Cool.
set up the
Bishop went.
board.
All right, cool. I do really want to target Zach Zinter. Yeah, but I think we could get him in a couple picks. Right
You
now, it's
think we
really
could get
just
him at
like
44?
oh yeah, we're at 133. I'm an idiot. I kind of just want to take Zach Zinter because I don't trust anybody on the board. And we still didn't take an edge, right?
We still didn't take an edge. That was where I was going to have you go next.
I kind of like the idea of taking Gabriel Murphy.
Yeah. And then getting Zinter at 44.
Yeah. But I mean, we really could go either way. Is my thought there. Yeah, my thought here is Gabriel Murphy from an edge perspective. Again, somebody who, like, from an athletic standpoint, he also doesn't like fit the mold completely, and he does have like
No, he
short
doesn't.
arms. But
he's a motor guy, right?
Yeah, and just like an athlete, like he doesn't have a ton of length and size, but he's got really good hands. He's athletic. He's got good feet, and he's got juice. Like I think you can play. Like he's going to be able to play special teams. He gives you some sub package role. Like I think he could compete with Casey Toohill for like edge 4.
Who are the other edges on the board?
Not great ones.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Kamara, Murphy, Jean-Baptiste, Nelson Cesar. Ideally, I'd like to go right now Zinter and Murphy.
You just don't know which one to go first.
Yeah, I'm cool taking Zinter if everybody wants. What does the chat say? Because I'm deep into my notes here.
The chat is Zinter, higher ceiling prospect. Adam wants us to look at running back. Claude Puy says Mo Kamara, Gabriel Murphy, Christian Jones, Malik Mustafa. So Zinter is up there.
I got running backs pulled up. Shipley, Sheridan. I don't love the running backs. I'm thinking Zinter.
I'm good with Zinter here. And
Zinter?
Yeah, and then we have hopefully Murphy falls to us at 144.
I'm also thinking, again, I don't want to game the system because I see where Zinter is ranked in his ADP.
You think
so my
he's
thought
going
is,
earlier?
we can wait, but I don't want to game the mock.
Do you think in real life you think Zinter's game is more like 4th round steady type of?
Yeah, I think he's a 4th round dude. Might be able to creep into the 3rd. Like I'm not worried too much about the injury piece.
Yeah, don't game the mock. Don't game.
Yeah,
don't
I don't
game
want to
the
game.
mock.
I think we already did, considering we got that trade from Baltimore. But I'm gonna take Zinter.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I thought I clicked the wrong name.
Hey, we're in 7 rounds. Everything's a win now.
Okay.
It's happened. Gabriel Murphy is still on the board.
I see Malik Mustafa, and I'm just like, oh, man. But we already have our safety. I wouldn't mind taking Mustafa.
We have a lot of picks. Like if he's there at 163, I don't think it would be too much to take him there.
The Murphy twins, yeah, they again, they don't fit the archetype of the Bills, which is part of the reason why I like it. Like, give me some athleticism and some juice off the edge, the physicality. Like, he plays the run, he can knock you back. He's got pop in those hands. And
I'm forever going to be proponent of draft these non-archetype fits while Von Miller is still in the building.
Fair. I like his hands. I like his feet, and I think he's got juice. And again, I'm okay taking he's going to be edge 4, or he's fighting 2 Hill for edge 4. I'm cool taking an athlete who grinds and who plays with juice.
Jason just sniped my guy. The running back I'm targeting at this point is Will Shipley.
That's fair. You could take Will Shipley.
I'd
But
rather
the pairing,
lock
so
the
here's my
edge
thought.
up.
Later at the 200s, I'm looking at Jace McClellan.
Yeah, I'd rather lock the edge up. I know we could get a productive running back.
Gabriel
later.
Murphy?
Yeah, I would rather go Gabriel Murphy.
I know the chat is down for it. All right, we're doing Gabriel Murphy. If Mustafa is somehow there at 160, Shipley goes to the Raiders. If Mustafa's there at 160, I'm taking him. Nobody can stop me. Oh, boy. Oh, damn it.
And there he goes to the Browns.
Shouldn't have spoke.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said that.
Jalen Coker, Marcus Rosemary-Jackson. All right, now part of me wants to just take the receiver because I'm worried about him going. I feel like Anthony Gould, wide receiver from Oregon State. We haven't double dipped. Speed guy, ran a 4.39 at the combine. He's that guy who is legit track speed to get vertical. Could be a special teams guy as well. I think you're looking at his size though, 5'8", 174 pounds. But again, dude flies, return man, speed. Again, you're looking at vertical separation, just another dude in the basketball lineup. He's immediately the fastest guy in that Bills room. Maybe Curtis Samuel.
I don't even think you need to keep going. The chat loves this.
Oh, really? I'm not even.
The chat absolutely loves this.
Copy that. Anthony Gould it is.
I think I don't know if people are talking about this, but getting a returner is massive now that they've changed the rules. Now.
Oh, we pick again. I forgot we pick again. Kind of want to take Bo Lemur, center from Arkansas. Watched him handle his own against Tavondre Sweat, and I don't think you can ever have too many offensive linemen. But again, we could really go anywhere here. This to me is all value.
We're at a surplus right now. You're just, like you said earlier, taking bites at the apple. We were trying to trade up using these picks and we couldn't get anything done. So now we just have them. We get to take swings. These are free swings. All those trade backs in the last 2 years.
Right. I like Bo Lemur.
What about
I also like Heighton Oladapo.
What I was curious, what about linebackers? Ooh, Muaso is there.
I like JD Bertrand if he's there. Oh, JD Bertrand. Trevin Wallace is interesting. I like Bertrand. Interviewed great at the Senior Bowl. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. Does some fun stuff on tape. I would take Bertrand if I had to take a linebacker. But I would rather take Lemur.
Yeah, no, we don't have to go linebacker here. I like Muaso, who's still available.
From UCLA.
UCLA, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like his game. He's just a ball hunter.
Yeah.
I'm good. Wait, who was our interior pick? We picked
Pooney. But he's more guard. Guard and could play some tackle.
Did we pick Pooney? I thought he got sniped from us.
No, we took Pooney.
Bro, this is such a blur.
Bro, get your mind together. How are you supposed to be? Oh no, we took Cam Kitchens. No. I'm losing it.
See? This was Baker.
Oh, yeah, we
You're
took Cam
scrolling up to
Kitchens.
Baker, and then
Kitchens.
And then this
We
was
took
the
Kitchens.
pick. This was the pick that we likely went. 128. Go to 128.
Oh no, yeah, we didn't pick Pooney. He went to Kansas City. You're right. So then I want interior offensive line. I want Bo Lemur.
Wait, who'd we pick at one? Yeah, see, we took Zinter. Chat's on it. Chat's
Oh,
all over
okay.
it.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Sorry. I've confused too many things in my head. Yeah, you also can't see your picks so far. I absolutely hate
that's why I'm like, where are we going now?
So we took a guard with Zinter. I like taking a center. And again, having that inside piece.
We have so many extra picks. I'm good with a center, and then we just need to address linebacker. We don't even need to address linebacker, but running back, linebacker.
All right.
I
We're
like
taking
Bo
Lamar.
Lamar here. Yeah.
Then we're going to come back and
3
we're going to
picks left.
go. Yeah. We'll go probably look at linebacker, running back, or maybe somebody really good falls. Man, I was hoping Oladapo was gonna fall.
Bertrand just went. Kamal
Yeah.
Hadden just went.
Trevin Wallace went. Cody Schrader, Rosemary Jack Saint, Steel Chambers. Man, run on the linebackers is really happening. Dude from UCLA could fly though. That's fun. Oh, I don't know why
There
I
goes
jinxed it.
Muso.
That's on me.
How
That's on
dare
me.
you?
That's on me. Rookie mistake. I'm embarrassed. All right. Oh, Rasheen Ali is fun. All right. What do we got? Linebacker?
Yeah, who's there?
Nah. Oh, Jalen Ford, interesting. Nobody that you're like I
No,
love.
no one pops. What about running back? Yeah, Jace
I like Rasheen
McClellan.
Ali and I like
Rasheen
Jace
Ali.
McClellan. The thing I like about McClellan, let me pull up my notes. Is just like the size and the pairing of like what he is, as 5'10, 221 pounds.
Right.
North-South dude. Like you pair that with James Cook. I also think like he can get some usefulness out of the backfield. But again, like I'm just looking at dude like his size and the way he moves at that size pairs well with James Cook.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for in the running back pick. It's not so much about the skill level as much as it is the complementary piece.
Yes.
I would prefer McClellan to Ali for that reason.
Yes, agreed. Or we could take a punter. Just kidding. Tip Ryman is also a fun one. Like
that
how good of a
Iowa
blocker he is.
punter, don't joke. He's
That's
legit.
true. He is legit. No, I know. Dylan Johnson is there too. I'm thinking running back. Jace McClellan? Or whatever running you feel particular way. Laube is fun. Dylan Johnson, Carson Steele is also a banger.
Checking Dylan Johnson's measurables. I think I'd rather go McClellan.
McClellan it is. All right, and then we're just going fun with the last two.
I'm not
Dominic
even joking,
Hampton,
bro. I
James,
kind of want that punter.
James Williams is interesting. Like, not as a safety, but as a linebacker, which is what I think he's going to be.
Ooh, Christian Boyd took a dip. Everyone was talking about him.
Oh, Jalen Simpson is still here.
Huh.
I want Jalen Simpson.
Yeah, maybe that's. I know you love him. Have you watched any Joshua Cephas?
I have not. I'm taking Jalen Simpson because the heart wants what it wants. That's the only executive decision I'm making in this draft class.
That was so.
Plus, we're running on like 2 hours, and I'm
no, you're good. I'm not lying though. If that Iowa punter is available, I'm taking him at 248.
Is he really? Is he really 26 years old?
I don't know. Is that true? Doesn't matter. He's legit, and he's a punter.
I have not looked into any punters. Adam is banging the drum for Isaac Orendo so hard. I'm sorry, Adam. We let him get away.
Doesn't he like not even get a lot of snaps? Like
it's weird.
Jawar from Wisconsin because he couldn't get beyond Braylon Allen, and then he goes to Louisville and he still didn't get a lot of snaps.
Yeah, Jawar Jordan was getting a ton. Oh man, somebody took Devonshire. That's annoying.
Australian punter, sign me up.
Oh, I like Josh Wallace as a corner out of Michigan.
The Michigan guy? Yeah. I saw some stuff on him.
What do we think? Hold on, let me go and pull up. Yeah, I like Josh Wallace. Again, you're taking a flyer at this point. We're at pick 248.
Oh, is the punter gone?
Tory Taylor?
Yeah, it looks like
he's gone.
That's upsetting.
Gone. Could take a linebacker. Could take Jalen Ford.
What about a quarterback?
I don't think any of the good ones are available. I mean, again, you're taking somebody in the freaking 7th round. Carter Bradley, Austin Reed, Devin Leary, Sam Hartman, Tua's brother. Could take him just to troll.
I don't hate Devin Leary. Who is he? You had a name before I said quarterback. Yeah, Josh Wallace. I would rather throw a dart at Josh Wallace than
all right, folks, we're taking Josh Wallace.
Send it. Let's see what arbitrary grade PFF gives us.
I never pay attention to the grades because it's all based on their, like, we're probably going to get dinged for Baker because I think they had him at like 76 and we took him at 60. We'll probably get a huge A+ for Newton.
I I remember when they used to grade the
Oh yeah, A
trades.
plus. Oh, we got a D for Zinter. Yeah, I don't. Oh, we got a B plus though. Okay, I'll take it.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I know we forfeited at least 5 picks in there due to time expiring, but I love that draft.
I do like it. Yeah, actually, let's go back and share the screen. I don't know why I closed out. I think all things considered, yeah. Johnny Newton, Javon Baker, Cam Kitchens, Jarvis Brownlee, Zach Zinter, Gabriel Murphy, Anthony Gould, Bo Lemur, Jace McClellan, Jalen Simpson, and Josh Wallace. I do
Like,
think this
so many boxes were checked.
yes. And I do think though this was like from an exercise perspective fun to see like if you don't go receiver in round 1, how your hand ironically can be forced a little bit later.
Yes. Yeah. Like, we were definitely forced into a corner with that second, third round picks. Those were tough. That was a tough decision for us. That was honestly most of the time taken in this mock draft.
I had no intention of purposefully taking Cam Kitchens, and I just love him so much. I think it's funny how this fell. My favorite pick here is probably Zach Zinter, just from a value perspective. I could care less about the grade. Newton and Zinter, I think, is really fun. Like, and then we like the whole help Josh Allen piece. Like, Baker gives you that X piece. Gould is a field stretcher and electric with his speed and can be a return man as well. Lemur and Zinter, I think, are fun pieces. You add in a nice hammer complement. To James Cook. So I like what we did there. Murphy competes for edge 4 snaps. Kitchens could potentially win out at safety, but I think you're letting him sit as safety 3 this year, and then he takes over next year, which I still think is solid. Newton is a game wrecker. I'm very, very happy with that. And then Brownlee, yeah, like I think he can push at outside, but weirdness. I would say weirdness aside, like worst case scenario is he is a legitimate backup in the slot to Taron Johnson. And, no disrespect to Cam Lewis. I think the upside of Brownlee outweighs the upside of Cam Lewis, even though he does have that nickel safety versatility.
Right. I like it, man. I really wanted to trade up and get rid of these
Yeah, because
late
I would say
round picks.
even to Josh's point there's no chance Brandon Beat is making that many picks. I think in real life it'll be easier to trade up and use some of it.
Probably.
It was tough in this one.
It was tough for us. Like, I wanted to trade up to get more in the mid rounds.
Yeah.
It just wasn't panning out for us. But honestly, if it played out like this, like, there is a soft reset going on right now at some positions, and we need to get bodies in there at cost control.
And if you look,
this achieves that.
Yeah, and I think like Newton's making the team, Baker's making the team, Kitchens is making the team, Brownlee's making the team, Zinter's making the team. Murphy is going to fight for. I think Murphy could beat out Casey Toohill. Gould is really interesting once you start to get into the 5th round spot, but like I think a lot of these guys make the team, or just at the very least like compete. And again, given what we had, I would have loved to have traded up, like we talked about, like especially once we got that 3rd round pick. I just think the opportunity didn't come for us to do it again. This is a random simulator mock. I think we were doing it more for the thought exercise and talking about players and all that and going forward. Yeah, that was a good. I love this comment. Yeah, like we didn't want to trade up. Like, so we wanted, also we asked the chat. The chat didn't want to sacrifice 5 picks.
Especially in the first round. Like, no one wanted to trade up in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. And see, I think this is Dennis's comment. Like, I like the trade back to get the 3rd rounder.
Yep.
This is my favorite, like, timeline. Trade back to get the 3rd rounder, but then trade up earlier in the 4th or again somewhere in the 3rd. Like, I want to trade back and then also trade up. We just really didn't get a good opportunity to trade up again. But again, maybe if we did another 10 of these, we probably would. But in this one, it just didn't fall that way for us.
We were also targeting guys that were just, like, when we were trying to get Marshawn Nealand, it was too close to our pick at 60 or whatever it was. Like, we weren't going to get that turnaround. There's too many picks to jump.
No. I think with that being said, this is a fun time. I'm going to throw up the banner. I would say it sounds like I just said I was going to throw up. That says Toodles, folks. Actually, no, I'm going to throw out the banner that says sponsored by One Pie Pizza because Aspen says let's do another 10 and find out. We could. I'm waxed though. Yeah, and like Roy said, it's just a mock. I do these as like thought exercises to kind of like would you rathers and this versus that type stuff. But I had fun with this one, and I always have fun every time I go to One Pie Pizza, the best pizza in Buffalo, New York. Online menu can be found in the episode show notes here on YouTube and or whichever podcasting app or platform you're listening to this show on. Go get yourself some One Pie Pizza. They do a ton of good for the community and the city of Buffalo. with giving back and, what they do with the SPCA, the Alzheimer's Foundation, partnering with Roswell, Toys for Tots come holiday time. They're really good people making really great food. Go give yourself some One Bite Pizza. Appreciate the kind words that are starting to come through in the chat for myself and Kendall. This has been an extremely fun episode. I want to thank everyone who rode with us live. Do they deliver to Iowa? Actually, you could maybe flash freeze it. It would probably cost a hefty penny, but they could probably figure out a way. I want to thank everyone who rode with us live here on this episode. The chat was awesome. The back and forth with each other, the back and forth with ourselves, the suggestions, the likes, the dislikes. I appreciate everybody for telling me what was going on with YouTube when the view counter was off and all the wonkiness. Very, very, very big thank you to Justin for all 4 of his super chats. Absolutely awesome. Again, appreciate you folks so much for riding with us live here on this episode. If you didn't roll with us live, that's cool. Thank you very much for your post-live view, listen, download, whatever have you. Before anybody leaves, please, 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 and thank you, drop a like on this video. If you are on YouTube, it goes a sincerely long way towards helping myself and the entire team to track and trend in front of more eyes and ears. So if you have not dropped a like on this video, whether you're watching live now or watching live later, please, or watching post-live later, please drop a like on this video. If you're on the podcasting apps and platforms, rate and review and subscribe. Turn on notifications here on YouTube for Disguise coverage. Tell your family, friends, and loved ones about how awesome this show is. If you thought the show was terrible, tell your enemies and try and ruin their day by making them watch this show. Thank you very much to anyone who listened, viewed, download, live, post live, and of course, as Dennis says, good to have Kendall back. Thank you very much to my guest for this evening, Mr. Kendall Mirsky, making his return back to the stage. Haven't had you on, I think, since January.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute, but it was nice to get you back in the saddle here on the show, and this was a fun one to do. A little stressful for me with clicking buttons, but I think it was a good time. I appreciate you being here.
Of course, man. Definitely put you on the spot as the pauser, but we got it done.
Absolutely. Good times. I appreciate everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. I hope you and your family and friends and loved ones are all doing well. Be kind to one another. Take care of one another. I will see you next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of Disguise coverage. Go check out the episode I did as a bonus episode with Dane Brugler. That's up on the Cover One YouTube channel and the Disguise coverage playlist as well. If you don't know, Dane Brugler is the draft expert for The Athletic. His draft guide, The Beast, is absolutely amazing in terms of how comprehensive and detailed that it is. So go check out that episode with Dane Brugler. Appreciate you folks. See you next week. Godspeed. Oh, hold on. Josh says, last opinion. Ant, what would you think of trading back 28 and not first or second and later picks this year for Washington 30 and 40? I like the idea of trading back, if I'm reading this correctly, of trading back into Washington's stuff. If it yields me, if I can trade out of 28 and it yields me a pick in the 30s and it gets me third this year, I'm down for it. But I don't know if I'm trading first and second and later this year for the 36 and 40. Although I am intrigued by that. I'd have to give it some thought. I like it. And I appreciate the kind words you're saying. Appreciate the content while driving across the country in my semi-truck. Godspeed. Appreciate you folks. If there's anything else we didn't get to, get at us on Twitter. I'll move the banner down right now so you can see that. I'm at pro__Ant. Kendall's at Mirsky Kendall. That'll do it for us here. Godspeed. And as always, go Bills.